flag and every other flag on every single product and legislate it until the consumer can see that you aren't pulling the wool over their eyes, because that's what they're doing. And I still have to get a can of Campbell soup that's putting that Canadian flag on, that's not being manufactured here, misleading the people, and getting it, getting it produced in Camden, New Jersey. The can, the label, the stuff inside. And do you know what they put? Recipe of Canada. Do you think the people of Ontario are that dumb? Like, I'm gonna call you out and get one of those cans. I'm gonna rip that label off and encourage people to buy made in Ontario, made in Canada soup. And maybe what you should do is bring back your manufacturing facility that you closed down in Etobicoke and got rid of hundreds of people. But I just can't stand sneaky companies that do stuff like that.
Doug Ford talking about people being sneaky and having the wrong label for what kind of thing it is underneath the label. To talk about this tonight, I brought in a great friend of mine, Frank Vaughan. Let's talk about it. There's so much to unpack on that one. Absolutely so much to unpack. But before we get into that, let's make sure that we bring the chat into the conversation, because tonight it's all about the chat. Yeah, I know the chat's super tiny. I don't know how to make it bigger than that when I'm using StreamYard, but bear with me, folks. We're keeping an eye on the chat, and we're interacting with you guys tonight. But I just wanted to play that clip because, Frank, you had a video today where you played a clip of Dougie Boy, and it was a different clip. It wasn't that clip. I thought this clip was just so much more fitting because, first off, Doug Ford is under the label of conservative, right?
Technically. That's what he calls himself.
I mean, that would be like putting something on the can that doesn't belong on the can.
When he's not hanging out with Chrystia Freeland and all the other liberals in Ottawa doing barbecues, he's a conservative for sure. Yeah,
he's totally conservative when he's not, having big old hugs off camera with the other guy that's not conservative running for prime minister. He's totally.
I would love to see the hug photos because I know they exist. I know there's a picture of Doug Ford hugging Mark Carney before they released the photo of them doing the handshake and sitting at the table. I'd love to see it. But somebody was smart enough at Progressive Conservative headquarters. They're like, that might be a bit too far even for Ontario. Placid Ontario. It might be a bit too much for them too.
So then the next thing to unpack here would be the fact that somebody in Canada would have, I don't know, maybe the exact same rhetoric as the Orange Man that everybody thinks is bad. Why don't we bring back manufacturing from that other place that used to be in this place and stop it from being there and make it come back here? Are we allowed to do that?
Canadian politics and a lot of Canada has this mental illness, and it's Trump derangement syndrome. That's what everybody calls it. It's this fear of the Orange Man. It's this hate of the Orange Man, but at the exact same time, in a way that only Canadians could do, in a hypocrisy that is distinctly Canadian, it's a Canadian cultural heritage moment, is memeing him the entire time they hate him. So we've got fake executive order signings. We got fake gavels sitting on the table while they do it. We got Carney virtue signaling and using doom rhetoric, which Trump was one of the people who pioneered giving people the bad news in politics. And now we've got Ford basically mimicking the Trumpian style, falling way short because he's Uncle Ford. I mean, the only thing he gets, he called himself passionate in the clip that I played today, and I'm thinking the only thing this guy's passionate about is all you can eat buffet. That's the only thing he gets excited about. The rest of the time, he's Mr. Mellow, and it's hilarious.
Hey, the ribs are empty. Somebody replenish the ribs. Why is it? You need.
Honestly, I think he knows what he's doing. I think they're onto something. There's a segment of the population, it's probably the majority of the population, that just is lapping up this Canada united. Together we stand, divided we fall. Can't let the Orange Man win. Like they're lapping it up, and it's very uncritical. It has no basis in fact, but it's a motive for sure. And it's like we're obsessed with this guy, and at the same time, so much of our politics and so much of our culture is copied from America, the same America that they're kind of marrying to the concept of Trump as though they're the same thing, even though they're not the same thing.
48 all the yellow cake, says Oliver about this. Of course, the oops, wrong one. Elbows up. That's the thing to say these days. That's elbows up. I found a really good tweet today, and it was
even when your politicians haven't said it since the election, it's still, it's good for the people.
There's perfect. The elbows up. That's a perfect portrayal. Yeah, the betrayal, portrayal of the elbows up, the head in the sand. Let's not realize what's actually going down here in Canada. What is happening? What's happening is just nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. We have people that are willing to give up basically the best relationship any country has ever had with another country. And here's the thing. It's actually been one of those like kid brother, like, I know he's cheating me, but I'll let him sort of relationships. Like, he's skimming a little off the top. He's not letting me. It's not reciprocal. I'm helping him out more than he's helping me. And now we've gotten to a point where America's going, Canada, you've grown up enough. How about you work on an even playing field with us? And it's like, how dare you? How absolutely dare you expect an equal playing field with us? Canada, of all places, this great nation. But the thing is, nobody even realizes that it's been so heavily swayed in favor of Canadians for so long, the trade deals. Mm-hmm.
Well, we had a pretty good deal, and we had a great run going. Decades of just flying under the radar, taking full advantage of the Americans, nice big fat trade surplus that we could turn around and spend that capital wherever we wanted in the world, living under their defense umbrella, living under their nuclear umbrella, living under their foreign policy. And if we had just kept our big mouths shut, we probably could have kept on with that arrangement forever and saved ourselves a fortune. And we could have painted every sidewalk. Forget sidewalks and crosswalks, man. We could have painted the roads on every Canadian Forces base, rainbow colors, complete with the trans stripes. We could have done it, and we would have still had money to spare. But instead, we had to spit in their eye and throw dust in their face, and we had to insult them, and we had to demean them, and we had to get rampaging about it. You see, because Canada's like this 7% size of their trade. We're like this little gnat kind of buzzing around your head, and every now and again it lands and you try and swat at it, but it's not worth the effort of actually putting it down because it's not that annoying. But then we got big and loud. We got a megaphone, and they're just like, this thing's been buzzing around my head for the last 40 years, and it's really disrespectful. It's trying to suck my blood. It has no regard for my bodily autonomy. I'm kind of drifting off here, but like we made so much noise that now the issue is going to come to a head. And unfortunately, so we talked about the GDP. We talked about how almost $1 in $10 is fake, fictional rent, weird, inventive stuff. There's other stuff in there that's like not
which I couldn't believe when you first brought that up. Like I had no idea. And I know a lot about economic, crap things that they pull on us. And that was outside of my radar that they made up. Explain it again. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's like if people own their house, what rent they would have paid, and then they just add that to the GDP as a fictional number.
Yeah. So if you would have paid rent if you didn't own your house, they calculate that as money that's actually in the economy as though you just paid rent. They do the same thing, folks. There's an economist, probably paid 6 figures a year, that's working, probably a team of economists that are working on how much your household garden is worth. So your vegetable patch, that's economic. So it has to be fed into GDP. And there's all kinds of these invented numbers that are fed into GDP. Plus, as we talked about in several videos, the rampant criminality that's driving money laundering. Like, it's a big chunk of our economy. And then there's the government economy, which is the largest part of our economy, which is extractive. So the public sector, by the time you're all said and done, there's this little piece left that is people who are making things and selling things and doing things that are productive. And it's those people who are going to suffer the most for our politicians' hubris. And in Mark Carney's credit, he actually told you. He actually campaigned on your destruction. I couldn't believe it. And people were like, yep, I'll take that guy. I want the CCAN homes from Olivia Chow. I want Tim Houston mass housing. I want CCANs for veterans. They're just like, yeah, they voted for it. It's kind of crazy. It really is. And now
construction office homes for families. Yeah, that we've seen it. It's insane.
There's no choice. Like the political spectrum sucks because they all think that America is the enemy, and it's really short-sighted. Like Fortress North America is the only game in town. It's the best game in town. If everybody wants to get rich, if everybody wants to prosper, then Fortress North America should be on your mind. Not screwing around with China, not playing around with Europe, but getting it done right here. And I don't get how there's not a single premier, leader of a party, anybody talking about how essential America is to our future. It kills me.
G Meister gifting 5 memberships to the channel. Thank you so much, my man. Helping us out. That helps out a ton. Thank you so much. It's crazy. I have I made this meme today and I thought it was so absolutely perfect for the conversation. Would be the Canadian trade with the fucking Trump, right? Like it's you putting the stick in the spokes. That it makes more sense if you really look at it. What has Trump really done to us except give us a seat at the table and say, listen, here's the thing. The 80-year run you had with closing your borders, not letting our banks come in and operate on your soil, not letting our businesses come in arbitrarily for whatever reason, running socialist sort of supply management and thwarting any businesses from coming in. And then people would say, but nobody pays those tariffs. Yeah, because they're punitive, and the idea is that it's an incentive not to enter the market. It's a barrier to entry, and it works, and that's why nobody's paying them. And Trump is saying, you know what? We want you to come and sit at the table, but this stuff is over. Those days are done. You're not going to get some free lunch. We get to trade with you just as much as you get to trade with us, and let's sit down at the table. And Canada's response to that was freaking wham. Like, I'm not kidding. Like there is no better way to explain that except a bunch of crybabies, because the rest of the world's coming along.
Crimes against humanity. I will cut off 1.5 million people. I will do it with a smile on my face. I'll leave them in the dark. They won't have electricity. For charging tariffs. Like, that's it. Just for some taxes. These guys love taxes. And and
they're reciprocal, though. The reciprocal tariffs.
Yeah. That's right.
Now, there was a set of punitive tariffs, and that was because Canada doesn't spend enough on military action to get a free lunch when it comes to security in the region. Canada is pretty bad when it comes to the narcotic stuff, running roughshot, or allowing China and Mexican cartels and Tren de Agua from Venezuela to come up and just have at her with the fentanyl trade and all of that. Yeah, that's a big issue. It's a security issue. So yeah, there was punitive tariffs originally for that. And then there was a giant announcement saying you have 90 days to free up your economy so that American businesses can do business in your country, just like your businesses do business in our country. Running also roughshot. Let's not forget the TD Bank busted for laundering in the United States. Fined, what was it, $3 billion?
Yeah, it was a lot because they laundered a lot of money.
It's crazy.
They're just the ones that got caught. I'm sure it's still going on.
And yeah, it's not even in the headlines anymore. Imagine if it was China in America laundering billions and billions of dollars. People would be up in arms. But it's Canada, so they're like, okay, we forgive you, Canada. Can you just shape up? Perhaps if you shape up, then we'll be good with you. How about that? I'm not kidding. America's so damn charitable, and I'm tired of pretending it's not.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. People down there that I know are, it's like a spectacle. You know, you're walking down the street, you're minding your own business, you got your family, you're off to get ice cream, and you just see two people in clothes that are too tight for them. They look like they've been rolling around in the mud, and they're just having an argument in the middle of the street, and you're like, that's strange. You kind of move in a different direction, but you stare, kind of fascinated. It's like when you crush a bug, you got to check and see what happened to it after you crushed it. It's like a curiosity. The Americans don't understand our reaction when they care to look, because half the time they don't care to look. Like, if we're trying so hard to get the wrong kind of attention, and if we keep working at it, we're going to get all kinds of bad attention. I don't think that's what is good for the people, but that seems to be where a lot of people want to take us.
I don't know how to say this other than I think I'm just kind of getting sick of it. And of course I'm vocalizing it now, right? And how do I even word
These two are
this?
Trump lovers. Tariff me, Donnie, that Len Guindon guy. That's funny. We tariff them, but we tariff them. We tariff the hell out of them.
America.
I mean, come on.
A lot.
Like, how many times do we got to explain reciprocal? The word reciprocal. Reciprocal tariffs mean we're just matching. They're just matching what we charge them. How many times? And that's your response? Tariff me, Donnie. We love Trump. We both criticize Trump. Come on. Offer something real. Sorry, Clyde.
No,
it's over and over again. You know? All you do is you repeat yourself. But
this is why I wanted to have you on tonight. I was like, I'm in the mood to just maybe even lose subscribers tonight. I think because at the end of the day, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. And, I kind of, you walk on eggshells sometimes because, some people just can't handle it. It's kind of like when you bring up boomers, you bring up boomers and you're like, you have to caveat with, I'm not talking about every single person in the boomer generation, but then people still get mad. How dare you pick on boomers? I'm just like, whoa, chill. Of course, I'm not talking about all Canadians, but this is a huge number of Canadians. And I've been getting it a lot lately.
It's the majority.
And
I think it's the majority.
It is legitimately the majority. And
a sizable majority. Yeah.
And I've even had, because I've been getting the brunt of it. And like I said, I've said this many times. I get this a lot my whole life. When people realize I'm an American citizen, it's like gloves are off somehow. And I'm like a bad guy in their books. And it's like, wait a second. I grew up in Canada. I lived a majority of my life in Canada. But this just it's this cultural thing in Canada to hate Americans. And not hate America, not hate a particular leader, because you've brought this up many times. Trump's going to be gone in 3.5 years. He's not an emperor. He's not a king. He's a president in a job that has a transient nature to it, right? There's no permanent fixture. There's term limits, 2 terms and you're out, and that's it. So there's going to be somebody else in the Oval Office. It may be a Democrat. It may be a Republican. It may be a new party altogether. We never know that. I mean, the Republicans aren't from the beginning of American history. It didn't come around until they freed the slaves. Hey, people remember that part. But
no, they don't.
No, they don't. They don't. For people who don't know their history, Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican president. He was the president that freed the slaves in America. That's, the first black, most things in positions, first black senator, first black congressman, first black, a bunch of things were all Republicans. This is a thing. I don't know.
But there was the big switcheroo.
Oh man,
the switcheroo that never happened. I mean,
it never happened.
No, it's all myth. It's all just the other side trying to claim credit for things they never did.
Yes,
that's Republican legacy,
and Lincoln try to mask things that they did do, like the fact that the KKK was the militant wing of the Democrat Party. Jim Crow was a Democrat.
How dare you? Your white supremacy showing, Clyde Singh.
So I love that nickname. I absolutely love that one. That one cracked me up. So that was somebody complaining that you even speak with me, right?
Yeah, and he said he couldn't trust me anymore because I collaborate with Clyde Singh because Clyde decided to go to that conference, and it just some people can't get over it. You went
You
and
can't
did
get
something.
over that. That's
Can't get
funny.
over it.
You can't get over that I was invited to speak at a conference that was concerned about national security. Interesting. Here's a great comment.
Even-
Charlotte Town says it's not that Canadians hate Americans. Canadians think Americans are arrogant. But it's the other way around in my
It is-
experience.
it's the other
It's
way
crazy.
I guess, all right, in fairness, there are some very belligerent Americans. They get in my comment section every now and again. But it's, dude, there's belligerent Canadians, there's belligerent Europeans. I don't think it's not statistically noticeable any more than anybody else. You get idiot Americans that show up in the comment section. You get Canadians that show up in the comment section. But I think culturally, in general, we have such a high view of ourselves in Canada. We're so high-minded. We think we have a massive, out of control, unchecked ego in general. And it stretches way beyond our means. Like our mouths, Doug Ford's mouth, Carney's mouth, Trudeau's mouth, write checks that their brains can't cash and we can't physically come good on. Like we are just so belligerent, I think, as a people, especially right now. Elbows up is just pure belligerence.
I put that on the American side too. I mean, the Americans, politicians are just as happy to spend the American taxpayers' dollar without regard for who's ever going to have to pay it back. And
why aren't we losing our minds over China? A 70% tariff on canola. That is structurally terrible for Western Canada.
Because you just answered the question. It's bad for Western Canada. That's why nobody cares.
It's like I saw Scott Moe make a statement about it, and he's right, in his statement, but it's like the country's not calling for the end of China. We're not boycotting the dollar store. And in effect, Saskatchewan's response is to just kind of wait and see what Ottawa has to say about it. And it's pathetic. It's like, we know what Ottawa is going to say. They're going to tell us to get stuffed like they always do.
Wanda Hall for 5 says, Clyde and Frank, you guys are not the only ones that are tired of the bullshit coming from a boomer. So yeah, not the only one. Exactly. Not the only one. Yeah, we get it. There's a lot of people that totally get it. I mean, I put out this tweet yesterday, and I don't have a huge Twitter account, just so people know. I often just read Twitter instead of like being like I don't know, like a big account on Twitter. But I put this out just yesterday, and this is some of the bigger responses that I have gotten from my thing. Just saying, being a Canadian used to be something to be proud of. Now it's just embarrassing. Right? And look at that, like 3.2 thousand people like that, and tons of retweets and comments on it. Some of them negative. So this guy saying, leave then, nobody's stopping you. I said, well, this is a meme now. You should leave then. Okay. And then that doesn't make them happy.
But it's not that simple. I mean, is anybody who has a problem structurally with Canada supposed to leave? Like, I made a video, like the second last video I made, I just talked about how the deal in Canada sucks for the citizen. And it does, objectively. I can't, like, you say, you're not proud of Canada. I've only ever had one citizenship. It's the Canadian citizenship. Maybe there was a point where I was proud of it. I don't take particular pride in Canada. I don't take pride in Parliament. I don't take pride in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. I think these things are junk and we can do better. And I think it speaks for itself. I mean, when like 90% of land in Canada is directly held by the Crown, either federally or provincially. The other 10 or 11% is privately held. But again, it's just title. You don't have property rights. So a court can come along on behalf of the Queen, which I know, the Queen or the King. It's not actually the Queen or King. It's the Governor General and the government that's appointed by Parliament. And they can take your stuff away, the stroke of a pen, without even passing an act of Parliament. That sucks. Why would I be proud of that? Now, the land, the mountains of BC, the plains that I live in now, the forests of Ontario, everything I've seen about this country, I love the land. And there's a lot of people, millions of people that I love. Not just because I agree with them, but because they're just good people. There's a lot of people in the world that I disagree with that are just good people. They're not online doing the toxic behavior nonsense. But everything else about it, the governing systems, the institutions, the bureaucracy, I don't find much pride. I don't find any pride in it. I guess I'm a bad Canadian, but I'm not in love with the system at all.
No. And I mean, you'll find beautiful places, beautiful scenery, beautiful landscapes all around the world. But you know, it's society that you have pride in, not landscapes, right? I mean, I could go to China and visit some amazing landscapes, and assuming that I don't get kidnapped or whatever, I can go there and visit it. But their entire system of governance is backwards and crappy. I mean, it's just terrible. I feel incredibly sorry for those people that live there, and a lot of them do themselves. They feel sorry for themselves. They don't want to be there. I mean, how many people are immigrating to China compared to how many Chinese are immigrating to the Western world? I mean, that's just an obvious thing. And then you start looking at immigration in Canada. I'm talking immigration in Canada. Immigration in Canada is like third world, no skilled individuals that just want to get out of poverty in some other place. And it just happens to be better to be in poverty here, where there's still money to be plundered from the taxpayer, right? But do you see a lot of skilled people coming to Canada? Do you see what about the skilled people that are in Canada? As soon as they have the chance, they're getting out. And that's terrifying. That's terrifying because, and especially when people are expressing, concern about it. And then the response back is, well, then get out of here then. We don't want to see you anymore. Enough people are saying, yeah, okay. And that's detrimental. That's the brain drain. That's going to expound the problems that are happening in Canada. It's going to make them much, much worse. Got a couple of comments here. Steve's Hyde, for 24 months, says Dougie has been a big mouth has a big mouth, to be fair. Yeah, he does. Waniska for 5 says, do you guys think Alaska, Trump, Putin summit ended the war today?
No, I don't. But I think it was interesting. I think it was good for anybody that doesn't want nuclear war between North America and Russia. But the thing that I found, the biggest take that I took away from it was actually how the Democrats and the left responded to it. Going into the meeting for days now, it's been, do not make a deal. If you make a deal without Ukraine and Europe, you're bad. Bad, Orange Man. Bad. And so then he comes out of today and he says, it's not a deal till it's a deal. And they're just like, see, he couldn't get it done. He said he was going to get it done and he didn't get it done. He's bad. So it's like, he's damned if he does. He's damned if he doesn't. But I did find it. There were a couple points in Putin's statement, which I found hopeful. And I noted that Putin's a man who can speak many languages, but he chooses to only speak Russian in public. But he ended his segment of the press conference thanking the American public and the president in English. I think he said 2 or 3 sentences, which is actually from Putin.
Wow.
It's a nod of respect, because you can bet when they were riding together in Trump's motorcade, they're not speaking through translators. Putin speaks English. So when you see him speaking Russian, it's not because he can't speak English. He knows how to speak English. It's a choice because he represents Russian civilization. He's not just a country. He's a civilization. He's representing a civilization. And I think if the West were smart, we would understand that fighting a war in Ukraine, where millions of people, millions of Ukrainians are dying, in Russia's backyard, in a culturally Russian place, they share a church, they share a religion, they share a language, is not a good look for us, because Russian civilization isn't just going to roll over and die like Saddam Hussein's Iraq or Muammar Gaddafi's Libya or Assad's Syria. Like we're not playing the same game here. We're trying to force the same changes, but it's not the same game at all. So, I mean, Trump's going to go talk to Europe. He's going to go talk to Zelensky. I think if we want this stopped, Ukraine has to cede territory. That's just the way it is. Because the reality on the ground, I don't know if you guys follow the daily movements of the armies. Like I watch a couple channels. Ukraine's losing. They've lost the war. It's just a matter of time.
Don't you realize, though, that just the entire MAGA movement is propagandized by Russia, and they're under the spell of... Sorry, I had to because it actually lends right into something that I said today. I said, ask yourself this: if Russia, China, and other forces have been trying to propagandize the West, who do you think it worked on? The MAGA types that want America to be great, or the ones who openly hate America and Western culture?
It's interesting to me how the MAGA types, the allegation is that they're a bunch of hypnotized lemmings. They're either controlled by Russia or they're up Trump's ass or any number of other aspersions that they cast upon MAGA. But when Trump refused to release the Epstein files and started behaving weird, 90% of MAGA got up in arms right away, and they're like, "Hey, man, you made a commitment, and we want that." And I mean, it's still ongoing; it hasn't stopped yet. So, I think MAGA
it shows just how many of them are not sycophants.
That's right. That's right. They want what they voted for. They want what was promised. They want peace in the world. They didn't vote for Israel leveling Gaza, so they're upset about that. There's a lot of elements of MAGA that aren't neocon. But I think the only point I'm trying to make is that there's a diversity of opinion, and there's a hell of a lot of people. There's sycophants for sure. There's definitely big influencers out there that will bend themselves in pretzels to make any statement that Trump says. I mean, I sometimes when
a lot of them are the same ones. A lot of them are the same ones that hated Trump to begin with. I mean, like the Ben Shapiro's, for example. Yeah, what's his name? The guy who stuck his face in Cheetos. What was his name? The Blaze guy. Glenn Beck. Yeah, Glenn Beck. Same thing.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, you forgot.
I forgot about that. That happened. That was like 9 years ago. That happened. Wow. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. That was a thing that happened.
Oh man, I can play that video clip in my mind. I remember that perfectly.
But then you've got the guys like Charlie Kirk, who are intelligible people, and you think that they would be completely on board saying, okay, well, let's just drop the Epstein thing and move on. We got lots of wins. Why don't we just take the wins and move on? Like, yeah, let's take those wins and put pressure on the things we didn't win on. How about that? And we'll keep going, because we're talking about, predators that that are high profile, and they're still running government, and they're still in the 3-letter agencies, and they're still in the bureaucracy. And we want to know who they are. We want to know what's going on. And it looks like this Epstein thing runs even deeper than just the predation thing. It looks like they were involved in the science community. They were involved in all kinds of other stuff. Why? And what for? Let's get to the bottom of it instead of just dropping it. And then what turned out to be the case with the whole Trump thing was it looks like Trump didn't even realize how big a story it was. He thought it was like, and this is the way it's looking, is that he thought this was like a smear campaign because he had something to do with Epstein, but it also has a lot to do with other things. And as soon as he became aware of that, it looks like he gave in, and he's like, okay, we'll get more information on it. At least that's how I see it. How do you see it?
I see it. I think when he said that the Democrats have had their hands on it for 4 years and they've put a bunch of fake stuff in, I think that's true. I think they probably did. That makes sense. If you look at if you just look at their past behavior, you look at what's happening with Russiagate, which, dude, 2 weeks I've been trying to get into what they're uncovering about Clinton and Obama and what actually went on. This is treason.
It's big.
Like, it's treasonous stuff. It's really bad. But it wouldn't, that type of behavior indicates that they'd be willing to do something like that to fake part of Epstein. The problem is, I think it's that, and I think, because I don't believe for a second that Trump is one of the worst. He may have known Epstein, he may have partied with him, maybe he met Melania through him. I'm not sure. Once he found out what Epstein was really up to, well, they're all associated.
You know where I'm going to go with this then, right? You saw the look on my face and you paused. So what came out about all of this is through the court records is that as soon as Trump understood that this guy was up to no good, and this is way before anything, way before anything came out, he was the one who alerted the authorities.
Mm-hmm.
That is huge.
That's the real story. That's the real sequence of events. He was the only one that cooperated. Kicked out Epstein, got him out of his life. Like, because if Epstein traveled in all the same circles that Trump did, whether Trump's, whether he's totally a philanderer. He cheated, like every single wife he had, he cheated on. Whether he did with Melania is another thing. So we're not judging him on that. No. If you're partying with people, you're doing business with people, you're donating to Democrats and Republicans, because he got the Mickey taken out of him in 2015, 2016, because he was a known longtime Democrat donor. And he said, look, I'm a businessman. I got to get along with everybody because America survives, governments change. So you sprinkle your efforts around to make sure that you've got everybody, kind of lined up. And that's what you do.
Yeah, I actually said this months and months and months ago when Pierre Poilievre started to really take off in the polls. I said, watch something in particular. Watch where the donations go. When all the donors started donating to the Conservatives, that's when I was like, they think he's going to win. And as soon as they pulled their donations, I knew he's not going to win.
Yeah. Yep. But like it makes sense that Trump would travel in these circles. And I don't want to shut down the idea that he could be totally implicated. I just don't think so. I don't think the evidence indicates that. So I think maybe he doesn't want to fight.
On the contrary, everything's pointing towards him being someone who, in fact, none of the indictments may have ever occurred if it wasn't for Trump's involvement in ringing, calling a siren on that. Like that's a big thing. Maybe the Epstein story would have never ever hit mainstream. Maybe he never would have gotten arrested back in the early 2000s.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. Like if you look at the deal that he got in the Audis, where he was basically allowed to take over half a jail, have his own private servants, his own food supply, the biggest sweetheart deal you've ever seen for a sex criminal in your entire life. And then he got to come back out. And after that, continue on with business as usual with his Manhattan apartments and Ehud Barak coming and renting, like all the stuff that happened. I might have the timeline a little screwed up there, but the point is, I think not wanting to litigate the fake stuff from the real stuff explains a lot, but also the fact that the guy's clearly an intelligence asset. Like you start connecting the dots on it. This guy's CIA and Mossad. We don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes because nobody seems to want to go down there. Because I think it would pull down a lot of people. And maybe this is Trump who campaigned allowing his crowds to chant "lock her up." And then when he got in office, he declined to charge Hillary Clinton because, according to him, he said it would be bad for the country. If you believe that, you believe it. If you don't, you don't. But that was the decision he made. He's capable, whether you agree or not, of making a decision that says that doing this would be bad for the country and for the stability of the world. I don't know. Maybe I'm putting words in his mouth. In my opinion, guys who take minor aged girls and sell them into sexual slavery, I don't care if the whole world burns down. That's like a moral absolute. That's something that we have to pursue and get justice on. I don't think there's any excuse for Trump not doing the hard work on that file. I want to know about Epstein. I want to know about it all. And I want the people who are involved, who are still out there, as you just said, still out there doing this to this day, protected, living their deviant life. I want them brought down because that shouldn't go on. There's way too many people. I'm sure you have people in your life. I know I have people in my life that were victimized as kids. It's far too common, far too common. And I'd like to see it addressed rather than being embraced because, they're trying to put the P in the acronym. And I'm just not.
It's M. M is the acronym that they want to use. It's MAPS. It's the softening of it. Some people may have never heard of that, but it's minor attracted persons. It's wood chipper for you. that's what that should be. WC
there should be a legal process that leads to capital punishment or castration. That way, you've covered your bases. But a thorough legal process that you can never, ever commit again.
Get through some of these because I want to keep them current because we'll end up going on too much. So Moonglow for 5 says, love you too on the show. Feeds the brain and so engaging. Common sense, honesty, and critical thinking. Thank you both so much. Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate that, Moonglow. I really, really do.
Appreciate you spending time with us.
One thing I want to say is like I want to encourage more people to do this, even though some of these topics are unpopular. I see too much of this, and I'm not pointing any fingers. I know, obviously, I'm not pointing anything at Frank because he's here with me doing it. But I see too many people with this audience capture. They're afraid to say certain things about certain individuals, and because it may lead to some people unsubscribing or having a bad opinion of them because you didn't agree on one thing. Trying to have a milquetoast sort of take. Yeah, I would encourage people to stop doing that because
me too.
Sometimes you just gotta say it like it is, or you're helping society go towards mediocrity in my estimate. So let's not do that. Jilly Beans for 5 says North America had culture war. US has in a large part won theirs. Canada, we lost. The cult won, and now we're failing. I'm waiting for the crash. The crash is coming.
It's ongoing, man. It's ongoing.
Yeah, like we're mid crash. Like it's like slow motion. The windshield's coming, and we're not buckled in. That's where we're at. Holy crap! Spencer's Corner for 2 says Clyde Frank. We need U.S. banks, telecom, and insurance. Yes, we do, because
competition's good.
Competition is just fantastic. But no, we want monopolies here in Canada. Isn't that how it works? That's what we want.
We like cartels. Cartels are key.
Mr. Roscoe Pico, member for 33 months. That's amazing. Oh, that's so amazing. I drove across the country in a 67 Cadillac using as many back roads as possible for that car. Of course you did, because it can only do like what, 80? Sorry, I remember old cars with 3 speeds. The new generation will never see the Canada I got to see. Yeah, no, you're absolutely
in the feels right there. That kicks me in the
totally
feels.
My buddy had a 71 LTD, and we used to drive. It had the brome tops of the Lando, like no, what do we call it? The not the Lando, the vinyl top all the way across. It was a 4-door, and the windows met up with a gasket in the middle. So when you open up the windows, it was just like big wide open on this like land yacht of a car.
Speaking of yachts, look at that PFP. What is that? It's like a car boat or something he's got going on in his picture.
Oh, what? I never even noticed
what's happening there? Mr. Roscoe Pico, you're going to have to tell us what is happening in that picture.
Explain that. But yeah, cruising Old County roads in Essex County was my upbringing. That's what we used to do. We would
back roads,
yeah, we'd chill at Tim Hortons. Sun would go down, and it would be hot, like that hot, humid southwestern Ontario swelt in the middle of summer. Mm-hmm. And we would just hit the county roads, and that wind blowing all through the back of the vehicle with no AC in it because it's too damn old. The giant bench seat you could fit like 7 people on in the back. That's what we used to do, man. That was the time. Steve's Hyde for 10 says, I was happy Trump won, and even if he didn't do anything, he is protecting a monstrous group, and I don't like that. I guess we'll see what happens with Maxwell.
I feel much the same way. Like, for whatever reason it is, I don't think there's a good enough reason in the world, and he clearly maybe he doesn't share that thought. He knows more than I do, but that kind of behavior, that kind of aberrance, I think that's, if there's just one thing that we should all agree on, is that children shouldn't be subject to sex crimes, period. And if that's the case, I don't care who it is, prosecuted all the way and strongly. Mm-hmm. I mean, these people should be in jail longer than murderers. Like, really. It's because it's that damage even a person who's well adjusted and gets over it, it never leaves. It's always with them, and it sucks.
I want to know. I want to know what the people that got the call from Trump know. The Charlie Kirks and the Dan Bonginos and the Kash Patels. I want to know. I want to know what they know. Of course, they don't want people like me to know anything. Because I'll shout it from the hilltops. I'll let everybody know. Holy cow! I don't keep secrets like that. I definitely I have sources on some things, and I always keep their name secret for obvious reasons. But no, I'm not. No, I wouldn't protect predators. Wanda Hall for 5 says, "Do you guys think Trump is trying to expose Carney for the snake he is?" Yeah. I think he's doing that.
I mean, if he's not actually actively working with the guy behind the scenes, and I'm not sure that's the case. I mean, I guess it could be. But do Canadians have the ability? And I say Canadians, I don't mean everybody, but we're talking about that 60-40 split. Do the 60% have the capacity in them? It's probably even more than that. Have the capacity to actually see Carney for what he is. It's so I just want to swear. It's so obvious. The guy comes here from outside of Canada, hasn't been here. He lives somewhere else, identified as a European. He's worked at Brookfield, gets parachuted in here. He gets selected by the Liberals, selected because they disenfranchised the only brown people in the election. I only say that because we're talking about Liberals, and they really put a lot of value on skin pigment.
Yeah, two of them.
They
a man and a woman.
Got rid of the brown people. And then they disenfranchised the people who registered to vote for those people that they weren't allowed to vote for. And they had a very statistically improbable outcome. I mean, Carney had blanket support across the country in really statistically improbable ways. And now he's managing the country in a way that benefits his former employer. He's a central banker. I mean, what more do you need? And yeah.
Well, he's also a politician. And let's just be honest. He pulled the best political move available to the Liberals, to the Liberal Party. But the Liberal Party is they're just in the worst shape possible after 10 years of Justin Trudeau, where the economy, everything was blamed on Trudeau. I mean, it was pretty clear, cut and dry, that the Liberals, with their bad economic policies will stimulate the economy and then the budget will balance itself. Bullshit that we've seen over and over again. We see it from the Democrats in the United States as well. This is just a left-leaning way, view of the world. But then this perfect opportunity came about where a propagandized public can be turned to look at a guy who's around for 6 months and say, look, he did that to us.
He did it all. He did it all. Yeah. Isn't it incredible? Everything's Trump's fault. The economy wasn't heading over a cliff since before COVID. I mean, were you even doing politics stuff before COVID? Like pre-COVID, were you around doing stuff?
American politics only.
Okay, because I remember the quaint cottage days that was. It was like a quiet drive in the country. We used to argue about $39 billion deficits. We talked a little bit about DEI, but it was so cottage compared to how it is since the big money printing that went on in the wake of the respiratory infection. Like we've been heading this way for a long time.
Nobody cared for the most point. Nobody really cared. No. Let's be honest. Like American politics was where it was at. DEI was growing in the United States over the past, 20 years. I remember covering things on other channels, by the way. I didn't do politics on my own YouTube channels, but I would go on as a guest with other channels and we would talk about things like culture war things, like the video game industry being taken over by social justice warriors, and people at tournaments getting kicked out of the tournaments for teabagging their opponent and things like that. You don't know what that is. I'm not explaining it on YouTube, but doing that, or stupid things like gun laws being introduced in the United States in blue states, where instead of a teacher or a security guard having a firearm in the class, they would have like a bat, like a fish bonker behind glass in case shooter comes, grab the fish bonker. I remember that being a story, and I covered a lot of this stuff and we talked about it. But when it came to Canadian politics, it was so bland and boring, and like, who cares? Canada is just kind of lefty crappy, but it's not that bad, I guess. Yeah.
A tedium, an unending tedium politically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Stephen Harper at the time. It was boring.
Mm-hmm. And there was a really awkward man that managed to actually form a majority government. It's kind of fascinating because he basically stopped talking to the press. He was awkward when he got on camera. Like, you could see the pressure was mounting on him. It was pretty easy to understand why Trudeau won. But it's like in 2015, accountability for government officials died. Like, back then, we were concerned about $10 glasses of orange juice on planes. That was national scandal when one of his senators drank some orange juice. And then she complained about ice cold camembert not being
Wait, what?
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I'm just remembering that clip. I can play it back in my head. Complaining about ice cold camembert to the press. Like, that's not going to go over well with the press,
Ice cold camembert?
Yeah, camembert.
Like the cheese? Yeah, the cheese. Yeah, somebody was mad about cold cheese?
Yeah, because she was only getting a very large, rotund woman in politics was complaining that the only thing that she was getting on a plane was ice cold camembert, and that wasn't sufficient for lunch, which is why I guess she expensed some lunches. But this was national scandal. That's how tedious it was. Trudeau comes along, and literally, if you go to Canadian political scandals on Wikipedia, who we all know and love as a medium that is very left-leaning, and you type in Canadian political scandals, half of them, supposedly we have a 150-year history, half of them occur since 2015 when Trudeau came into office. No one cares. I mean, they've been riding roughshod. Nobody cares. People do. Millions do, but the vast majority don't.
I had no idea what beef Wellington was until I heard about Canadian politicians eating it on a plane.
Yep, that's what we do up here. Bev Oda. Yeah, Vinny, that's right. Bev Oda. Thank you.
Okay, I didn't know that individual. Laura Baker with 699 says, my first car was a 1983 Cutlass Supreme. I love that car, by the way.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. 13 people total was my personal record, which included 2 in the trunk. Only 2 in the trunk? Like, I think you could fit at least 4 if they're not too rotund. Definitely.
I've done my share of sketchy things in cars like that before, and in the back of pickup trucks flying around town.
Well, I remember trying to get to a party or get to the movie theater, and you're like, we only got one car. Okay, someone's riding trunk.
Yep.
At least 2-3 people are riding trunk if it's a car like that.
The whole time you're just praying.
Brenda Y with a 699 says, I think Epstein goes so high even Trump is scared to go after them. That could be a possibility. I don't know.
Yep. I think that's a fair guess. It's a mystery to us. And, the fact is there's a bunch of scumbags out there who pay to do nasty things to minors that are just still walking around. So I guess it's got to be pretty high and pretty big.
Yeah.
He's a family guy. I mean, he clearly loves his kids. Like, you see a glimmer of such reality whenever he's around his grandkids, or Don or Eric or Ivanka or Tiffany. I mean, he just, you can tell his family's everything to him. And maybe you could say it's not his family, it's the name. Same thing. The family is the name.
Yeah. So when a politician in another country snubs members of his family, probably doesn't go over well.
That's right. It's called diplomacy. We used to know how to do that in Canada.
maybe some people don't know the story, but it was Jenny Byrne and Pierre Poilievre's camp that snubbed Trump Jr. when he came to Canada. He just wanted to come say hi. Hey, you're the right-leaning candidate in a country that shares the largest border with us, and you're an election's coming up. Would you like to say hi? No, we don't like your kind up here. Just unbelievable.
Can't afford to have a picture with you. Worse than Jeremy McKenzie. Jeremy McKenzie got a picture, but Trump's kids can't get one. So figure that one out.
That's something else. Wow. Steve's high for 5. Well, I mean, I guess it's okay to take pictures with federal agents. But
hey, he still hasn't sued Ezra Levant. I keep waiting for the lawsuit. I don't know. I'm waiting for it.
Steve's Hyde for $5 says someone most likely took over Jeffrey's operation. Think about it. There were many more involved. Sorry to ramble. Yeah, no, you're fine to ramble. If you think that Jeffrey Epstein was a lone wolf, I mean, you're out to lunch. And I'm not talking to you, Steve. I'm just talking to anyone in general that just thinks that was a lone wolf operation. That's no way. There's no freaking way.
It's just the intelligence ties from the very day when this guy who dropped out of college became a math teacher at one of the most prestigious schools in America because of his connections to intelligence. It's not a conspiracy theory. He went from being some obscure person with no money to being a billionaire that didn't own one island. He owned 2 islands. He owned the biggest house, either in Manhattan or New York. And that's just, we talk about Manhattan and we talk about the Virgin Islands, but we don't talk about Paris and all the other places he was ensconced. This guy was a globetrotter with a network and an empire, and he built it on behalf of somebody. And whoever that somebody is, or whatever that force is, and we have our guesses. I think they're really educated guesses. But for whatever reason, nobody wants to scratch that and take a look what's beneath the surface, to the point where people who would otherwise be good, I would say God-fearing people who love their children, are silent in the face of the abuse of children. There's something really compelling about that. It makes me curious, what could it possibly be that could compel silence on such a scale? It makes me wonder.
I just saw a comment that I just wanted to comment on here. Light Giver saying Hoover signed the Tariff Act. Food and goods increased in price. People stopped purchasing. 1 million lost jobs. Businesses collapsed. We're heading in a familiar direction. I disagree. Totally disagree.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen that price spike yet. I've actually been meaning to do a segment about how prices are flat and the business collapse hasn't happened. Maybe it'll happen later, but I don't think you can say that.
When it comes to what happened here, we're talking about what went down during the Great Depression. Okay. Now there was a depression that happened before the Great Depression. It was like the little recession or whatever, and it was a giant economic downturn, and the government didn't intervene whatsoever, and a bunch of people lost their wealth, and then it bounced back, and then America was doing well, and then went through the Roaring 20s. And then there was another economic crash that occurred a decade or so later. And then the government intervened with this. And it was this Tariff Act, but it didn't just include tariffs. It wasn't just tariffs on other countries. And the last thing you want to do in an economic downturn within your own nation is tariff other people to come into your nation. You have no consumers at that point. It's not a good thing. You're not going to encourage people to come in with their businesses and whatnot, and then also trade with you internationally if you put tariffs on. But it wasn't just that. A lot of the economic measures that they brought forward during the Great Depression exacerbated the situation. They came in with tons of, they had the Hoover Dam was a big project. They had all these other big projects. And then they also, to get the farmers' food prices up, because they thought that food prices dropping, the deflationary drop of food prices they thought was like a bad thing, and you'll never get out of this if the food prices keep going down. So they ordered farmers to till over their fields and cull entire herds or whatever you call it of livestock and just bury them in the efforts of driving the food prices up. Well, what happens when you have, out of control unemployment, and then you artificially increase the prices of food everywhere? Well, you get starvation. Yes. And instead of the Great Depression having been a recession and then a sharp uptick, it went on for over 10 years. And that's a time where we shouldn't repeat what went down. But just to equate the name of the policy with what's going on today is a misnomer. So yeah, the Tariff Act,
different circumstances entirely.
It's not the same thing. Sorry, I had to address that because I saw that one. And Light Giver's a great member of the community, and love seeing you chat. So thanks for giving your input on that one. Really appreciate it. Jilly Peppers for 20 says, I'm tired of our livelihoods being stolen from under us. I'm tired of people that don't see things for what they are. The propaganda is real. I pray people liberate themselves from liberalism. Trust me, it's freeing. You know what's crazy is like even the verbiage you need to liberate yourself from. You know what liberalism is? Thomas Paine, Benjamin Franklin, George Washington. That was liberalism. It's this Orwellian doublespeak where you name all the awful things the good names, and then those names become awful at the end of the day. So this is why libertarians call themselves libertarians instead of calling themselves liberals, because they don't believe in the same thing that modern day liberals believe in. And modern day liberals don't believe in anything that has anything to do with liberty, which is the source of the word, which is crazy to me. It's just this dance around language. And when you speak with other people in different languages, like for example, Spanish people, if you explain to them what a liberal is, they're like, wait, I'm a liberal. And they're the conservatives, right? they're the have your miles where he's a liberal. And that's in the Spanish world, that's how it's seen. And the people who over here are liberals, they'd be seen as socialists. That's just socialism. It's unbelievable.
And that's what it is. Yeah. It's not even liberalism. It's socialism. And and leftism, like we've conflated the two together, and they've moved the spectrum of acceptable debate so far to the left that liberals don't actually have a spot. Like I don't think there's any centrists. I think even the CPC struggles with that. Like just even tipping their foot over the center line to get into some actual right-wing policy, or defining or changing the definition of what a liberal and a conservative actually is. Because you rightly noted, the definition has changed over time. Like the divide used to not be about government. Like our way of doing things in Canada is that government can solve all problems. Liberals and conservatives used to agree that government couldn't solve anything and that it needed to be limited. And they argued about how to implement that limitation. They both recognized that government was an evil that was necessary. We're not there anymore. Now to be a liberal means you embrace government, and you embrace all government, and you embrace war, and you embrace central bankers, and you embrace somehow the very aristocracy that 20 years ago we were protesting against. That's the part that I can't understand. 25 years ago, when I was a 20-year-old man, what it meant to be on the left, or what it meant to be liberal, or what it meant to just be a thinking person was completely different than what it means now. Like now you embrace power. To be rebellious is to embrace the state. To be rebellious is to let them pump into your body whatever they want. To be rebellious is to embrace the World Economic Forum and the central bankers. And I'm like, I don't know how that's punk rock. Because you remember when Carney was campaigning, I don't even know who the guy was, but they tried to do this thing where Carney was talking about his punk rock collection. Did you see that interview?
No.
So they put him on TV and they framed Carney as an old punk rock guy. And so they did some touchstone talking about certain punk rock bands. And like, I'm not an expert about punk rock.
They didn't get like Nardwar or somebody to do it, did they?
Yeah, I don't know. It was some rich punk. It's like, you know, I don't know how being rich and being a punk can go together, but it was just bizarre to me. And it's, I mean, Rage Against the Machine during COVID, they have concerts where you don't get in if you're not jabbed. And they sing a song. Fuck you, I won't do it. You tell me unless it's to get a jab, then you got to get it. Get your passport to come to the concert. Like, how did the left get there, man? They used to write, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The music that came out of the 90s and the oddies was about, you know, spitting in the face of the man. And now it's like full embracement of the man as long as it's not the orange man.
Shut up. It was Nardwar. Oh, it's so disappointing.
You see that now?
I like Nardwar. Why do you got to do this, Nardwar?
Well,
and well, I'm so Nardwar's famous. He's this guy. Or I'll pop this up on the screen. He's a famous Canadian. He does these interviews. He's got a quirky voice, and he wears stupid things.
It's kind of like a cross between Angus Young and a Scotsman.
Like Angus Young and Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
If you hear his voice, you'll know what I'm talking about.
I approach all the different party leaders and see if they will do an interview and a hip flip.
Okay, I'm gonna get
so cool. Look how cool he is. Young and hip.
So here's the thing. He's very old now. Nardwar is actually an amazing interviewer. He does these crazy, like if you go and watch his history of interviews, he interviews like these top band guys or whatever, but he always like pulls out the most obscure, historical references that the interviewee wouldn't ever imagine somebody in the public would know, right? It's all real niche stuff. And part, like most of the interview is just how amazing he is at like pulling up stuff. So, I mean, I'm going to watch this later, but I'm assuming he's not going to pull up any dirt on Brookfield or anything like that during the interview, because with his journalistic abilities, you'd think he would be able to. But if he's like, oh yeah, you're an old punk rocker, that's just crazy. That's crazy. Crazy fans. I will give that a watch.
And it's so funny because they put so much effort into trying to reframe Mark Carney and his personality. Nobody was really paying attention. Like, I watched that and I didn't ever talk about it in a video. You'd think I would have made something out of it, but I think I might have made a passing comment to the fact that they're trying to frame him as a punk rocker, which I just think is so funny. The central banking punk rocker. Nothing's more punk rock than that.
But that's where punk rock went. That's where punk rock went. So I used to be in the punk scene back in the day. And I remember like getting kind of knocked out of it. And I'll tell you why, because a lot of people were like the old punk rock scene was like, against the man, do whatever you can to just like fight establishment. That was the thing, right? And anarchy was the thing. You always see the anarchy symbol wherever. And I understood it as anarchy being like, I don't want any rulers. I don't want nobody having authority over me. That was a thing. When you're young and dumb, you're thinking like, oh yeah, that's awesome. I just had to want no any rulers, But then, then life kicks in and you're like, oh, holy crap. Okay. There is hierarchies in life and it's not all like, anyway. What I found was the scene really started shifting towards the end of my involvement in the punk rock scene, and a lot of people going, yeah, anarchy's not that great. So we started looking at socialism. Like, wait a second, you went from wanting no rulers to having authoritarianism, like totalitarian rule, central authorities, that kind of thing. This is not my cup of tea. That's crazy. And then somebody pointed it out to me once. I was at a cafe. And I always like to read books and just interested in learning more and all that stuff. So I used to go when I lived in Toronto to this cafe, and they had this cool, it was like near my place, and they had this cool like sofas all around a table. It was eclectic, and that was like the scene back in the late 90s. So yep. I go and I hang out there, and I get a coffee and a bagel because it was really good there. and it was cheap, and I was young and I didn't have a lot of money, so I could go there and I could read my book in the air conditioning and away from the heat and all that stuff. It was great. So, and nobody would bother me because I'm just like sitting on a couch and it's not busy, right? So people would come in and start conversations. And one day this guy comes in, he's like, "So what are you all about?" I'm like, "Well, let me tell you all about it. I'm anti-establishment and I'm blah, blah, blah." And he's like, he listens to me out and here's the whole thing. And he's like, "Oh yeah, so you're a punk rocker." I'm like, "Yeah, exactly." He's like, "You know how I knew that?" He's like, I'm like, "Because I just told you." He's like, "No, you know how I knew that before I even talked to you?" And I'm like, "What? Well, how?" And he says, "Because you're wearing a punk rocker's uniform." And it all just kind of made sense because I was decked out like a punk rocker. I had the mohawk. I had all that stuff. And it's like, wow, I'm wearing a uniform. Just, I'm identifying myself with the clothing that I'm wearing. Wow, I'm an idiot. You know? And like it dawned on me. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. Now I get it. And then I stopped caring so much about looking the part anymore.
Most movements that define themselves as nonconformist are actually quite conformist.
Big
You
time.
see it in the typical 2016 to 2022 side scooch haircut thing that all the girls were doing, which, you know, like it's basically looking the same. But I was the same way, man. Like I had a vest. Every time I went to a show, I bought another patch to diligently sew on my vest. I had 3 different wallet chains going down below my knees. I would trip over it got ridiculous. I had to take one off. I never did a mohawk, but I had long hair up here and I had the sides shaved. So I had it like long.
Oh, yeah, the Cobain. Yeah, the Cobain thing.
The bald thing. Yeah. And I had a goatee and I did the whole thing. And then I don't know. I went to a few festivals. I got to experience what life was like for 3 days in the bush, getting ate alive by bugs and getting dirty and being broke and drugged out and all this stuff. And I just woke up one day and I'm like, I'm not a punk. I don't.
Oh, you went to Spiderfest, did you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I was actually watching video last night or the night before of Spiderfest 25 because it's still going in Campbellford, Ontario. Yeah.
Shut up.
And it's man. You know,
you and I have a lot in common, man.
I'm kind of glad okay, so when did you go? Did you go in the 90s?
I didn't actually go to Spiderfest. I wanted to go, but
that was anarchy, man. Like
I know. I
foot on that property. The paramedics wouldn't come down in there when people inevitably got hurt. They had to be carted out. It was.
I was bummed that I couldn't go. We were supposed to get a ride the one year, and then our ride fell through, and then it was just we didn't go.
Yeah, it was wild. Like it taught me that I am more civilized than I think. I like hydro. I like clean water. I like, I'm not a fan of easy crack and heroin. Like I just don't think those things are necessarily good for society. When you see people ODing all in the woods as punk music's playing, it's like, I don't know if this is how we redesign society. I'm just not sure. This is good.
No,
wasn't for me.
Oh man. Oh, it's just funny that you and I probably had some of the same circles way back in the day, and here we are all these years later. That's something else. G Meister for 5 says that it irritates me that Carney won't even wear a Canadian flag pin. He wears his Order of Canada instead.
And who gave him the Order of Canada? It's a king's gift. I mean, it's the country's gift, but it's the king's gift. It's the highest thing the king can award, even though it's not awarded by the king. I get it. But he won't wear the flag. I think that they're just telling us, guys, like they're telling us who they are, because they know that there's a certain segment of the Canadian population that they can be slapped in the face. It's a game. Slapping Canada in the face with what they are is a game. They get off on it. And they love frustrating the rest of us who can see it, can see what they're telling us. It's amazing.
Mr. Roscoe Pico for $6.99 says, I'm building a boat that looks like a 1950s truck with hydraulic tire and electric beach landing. That's amazing.
I love it. I love it.
And it changed the pictures. You got a different angle of it now.
I want videos and updates. Comment on my chat. You never have to watch another one of my videos. I just want to know how this is going. I need a link.
That's
That
awesome.
looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I can get behind that for sure. Steve's Hyde for 5 says, sorry, we can't disclose who trafficked children because of national security. Our national security depends on trafficking children. Yeah. Yeah, I don't agree.
No.
If that's
I don't want to live in a nation like that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to live in a place like that. Forget it. Not Enough Toys. I love that name, by the way. For $20 says, it saddens this. I saddened by the state of politicians up in Canada. Can you imagine even Pierre debating any of Trump, Vance, Rubio? Frank has more intensity and sharpness than all the Canadian politicians combined that I've seen. I will agree with that. I'll absolutely agree with that. In fact, I've been really upset with again. I mean, I've been addressing my frustration with Pierre Poilievre and his like lack of getting on board with civil liberties issues. He completely ignores civil liberties. Apparently, this seems to be the thing. But you know, when it comes to like, when it came to what was it, the parental rights protests that went all across Canada, all the other politicians chimed in against it. He wouldn't even open his mouth. Wait for the polls to come out.
Yeah.
Wait for the the data from whatever. They'll run some what do you call it? The focus groups or whatever.
Poll testing, focus groups. Yeah.
Does all that for that. When the Trump tariff thing happened, I was saying like, why are you so late on commenting about this? You should get behind the fact that fentanyl, the border thing, is an actual issue. It took him a while. He finally comes out about it after everybody complains and says a bunch of stuff about him. This keeps happening. It's over and over and over and over again. And now we're on to the forest fire situation in the Maritimes, where people are just being banished from forests because, I don't know, sneakers catch fire. They're
no, because
devices.
You might break your leg. They might break your leg, and the emergency responders are too busy with drug overdoses, so they can't come and get you.
So that was a secondary excuse. The primary excuse was you can't go in the woods because you'll start a fire. And then when people push back, then it's no, okay, well, you're gonna, it's the same as like, if you go and get sick, you're killing grandma, during COVID. Same damn excuses for limiting people's liberties. It's the point is they have one bludgeon on people, and we're going to take away your liberties. And people are rightfully fighting against it. And you think that a federal party guy would stand up and say, hey,
yep,
we have a charter and you need to abide by that charter. It's federal jurisdiction. We can pipe in. You can't say that, well, this is a provincial matter. No, it's a federal matter when it comes to that. But this is the thing that irked me the most. And I had to share this because right at the beginning of the campaign, when the election kicked off, Pierre Poilievre had a dig at Americans. You may remember he didn't have a dig at Trump. He had digs at Trump, but then he had a dig at Americans. And this was the beginning of the end of my hopes for this guy being the champion of anything. Here's the clip.
As Winston Churchill said, though, you can always count on the Americans to do the right thing after exhausting all other possibilities.
Right. Just like, everybody putting the pressure on Pierre time and time again to do the right thing and come out for liberties in Canada, for civil liberties. And you can always count on a Canadian right-leaning politician to eventually doing the right thing after they've exhausted all other possibilities. This is one of those slips that he threw out as a dig towards Americans, which I happen to be one of. And I found this pretty offensive, to be honest. It's one thing to go after the leader of a country, perhaps you don't like his positions, but you're going after all Americans at this point, and it's like a big go screw yourself, man. You want me to support you? Someone who can vote in the elections here? Like, what? That was right then. That was the beginning of me going, like, I was already starting to go, okay, it's a bit exhausting. In fact, I did post about that, about it being exhausting to be a supporter of Pierre. Actually, I shared this post just prior to this even happening. I said, this is when I thought Pierre was going to win. I said, I think a Pierre Poilievre government is going to be exhausting. Seems like he's just behind the curve on a lot of these issues that he needs the nudging to get on the right page nearly every stop of the way. Parental rights, he's a no-show until there's backlash. Team Canada relation, tariff stuff until backlash. And then he pivots to border and fentanyl instead of just talking about how, no, these tariffs are not unjustified. And then he went to the unjustified stuff after I'd post this, which really ticked me off because it's not true. Seems like he ends up on the right spot, but only when pushed. It's like Canadians will have to set a time aside every week just to make sure he's on the right path. Why wouldn't we get leadership? Wouldn't that be fantastic? But no, I think this is like limp dick policies. Like, what do you say to that?
It's not leadership. Like, it's and that's the biggest problem. We don't have leaders in politics. Like, Poilievre was the chosen one. He was the golden boy. He was the most effective speaker in question period. When he was running for leader, he did some pretty cool off-the-cuff interviews with some podcasters where I remember one interview where he's just sitting there. They were smoking a hookah. They were probably just smoking tobacco in it. But he's sitting there. He's got, what the hell, his T-shirt, he had a Bitcoin T-shirt on. It was a bit contrived. But like, he's just letting his balls hang out. He's sitting there like a man should. He's not sitting with his legs crossed like Trudeau. And he's just talking and he's just riffing. And like, that Pierre is a leader. But he got in the leadership position, and then all of a sudden he just became more and more synthetic. Like, he dropped the glasses. He started wearing makeup. And yeah, he got in shape, and good for him. I should follow his example because he did a really good job changing himself over. But completely changed a style that he had developed for well over a decade and started moving more and more and more to messages. That's not quite how I remember it, but that's absolutely what I'm talking about. That's the scene. Right there.
That's the scene right there. Yeah, this interview goes back a long time. It's 3 years ago.
Yeah,
right?
But I mean, look at him. Like, a dweeby guy in glasses who can kick your ass intellectually and isn't afraid to just sit like a normal person and smoke a hookah. Like, there was something really captivating here, and I'm like, this is the guy. This is the CPC is building towards this. And then he got in there and this style got swapped out for talking points. And like, you know, a good leader, when Trump gets a curveball, whether you like him or not, when Trump gets a curveball thrown at him by the press, he's either really good at being evasive or saying everything to everybody, or on the fly, his political instincts kick in and he shows the direction and everybody else follows. That's what leadership's supposed to look like. Instinct, because you're leading from your heart and your head, your heart leashed to your head. And they don't have that. They gotta script it. They gotta be certain of every little thing. They gotta be, as I was told, I argued back and forth on Twitter a couple days ago. The guy was just like telling me I don't know anything about politics. He's like, conservatives have got to have a strategy, Frank. You don't have a strategy. And I'm like, no, I don't have a strategy. I got this idea what right and wrong is, but how's your strategy working? He's like, well, we're strongly positioned in the polls. And so I showed him 12 polls. I'm like, yeah, you're looking great. You are looking fantastic. Like, at the very least, you haven't gained
number
anything.
two. Number two.
So
you're leading for that. What?
Like, trying to cater to the left, it's not working for Ford. Like, I mean, yeah, he got reelected and everything else. But I woke up this morning and Ford
by attaching himself to Mark Carney, the message of elbows up, and calling an election right at the right time because everybody is so insanely scared.
But that 30 odd percent that voted Liberal, I think it was 30 some percent, and the people who voted NDP in the Ontario election are never voting Ford. They're on him right now because he's contracted an American company to build a hospital in Ontario. The whole time that they're doing the elbows up nonsense, they're still contracting out to the United States, and they're going to bury him on it. And I'm like, you're not going to get that segment of the voter to come to you, and neither is Pierre by catering. What you might be able to do is shock him awake. You got to get in front of the camera. You got to hold a press conference. You got to argue with the press for an hour or two. One of the most amazing things I ever seen in politics. There was a Univision reporter named Jorge Ramos, and Trump was doing a press conference, and Jorge got up and he refused to shut up. He's just like, there's no illegal humans. There's only undocumented migrants. And he's going off in his accent. And it's perfect imagery, right? Like it's that imagery of the minority taking truth to power. And so Trump's like, look, man, it's not your turn. Sit down. You're done. And then he sicks his private bodyguards on him and he removes them, takes him out of the room. And people were like, you can't do that to the press. Trump brings him back in and then proceeds to debate him for 7 minutes and put him right squarely in his place. And I'm like, that's leadership. That's what it looks like, doing it from here. We don't have anybody in Canada that's doing that. It's all safe zone talking points everywhere you look. I don't see a single inspirational leader everywhere. And yes, that includes Maxime Bernier. He's a talking point master too. They're just terrible talking points. Like there's just nothing out there.
I've had Max on the show twice, and because I'm a good conversationalist, right? Like a lot of people say, Clyde, you're a really good interviewer. I don't know if that's the case. I think I'm a really good conversationalist. I know how to carry a conversation. I know how to bring it around so we're on the talk on the points of discussion that people want to hear or I'm interested in, that kind of thing. And when I talked to Max, both times it was like talking to an automaton or an animatronic like version of a person. It was like putting the coin in and just waiting for the response to spit out. I didn't feel like I was able to like carry a conversation. It was like get the question out and then get an answer. Get a question out and get an answer. There was no like follow up or ability to do any of that. It felt really unauthentic. And I don't get that from a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that he was actually building a people's party. I wish there was an opportunity in 2018 and 2019 to actually do something different in this country. And with the right kind of leadership, it might have actually worked. I thought in 3 cycles, it could have worked out really well. But, he doesn't even write his own tweets. He approves them. Someone else writes them for him to this day. And you can recognize it. The style of those tweets versus the man you talk to, it's not the same person. And,
it's disappointing. It's disappointing.
I am open to talking about this stuff with Max any day. God knows he used to answer my calls. We ate enough meals together. I would love to have a conversation. I'd be respectful. I wouldn't even be a jerk about it. But I would just say, where's the party, man? Where's the people in the People's Party? Because they don't exist. And what's the plan to break out? Because the best you did was 21, and 80% of that vote evaporated in 25. That's a problem. And there needs to be accountability for that. There needs to be a future, not just the expense account and the wages for HQ eating up the entire budget of the project. I find it really sad because there are great candidates that I think are good people, and they're stuck. There are good people there still. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like Payman Ascari, I think he's a fantastic guy. I think, it sucks that he's there. I'd like to see him win in a primary with the Conservatives, because then he might have a chance of getting in there. But that being said, perhaps he doesn't have enough Calistani money or something. But that's a whole other topic. Kathy Hopkins becoming a member of the channel. Thank you so much, Kathy. Really appreciate that. Jilly Beans for 2 says bring back the 90s.
It was cool.
It was cool. Man, the 90s were awesome. The sad part is they're not coming back. We're not getting there. We've got to make a new.
We got to experience being teenagers without smartphones, man. We got to experience. I mean, Think about how life used to be. You know, you wanted to hang out with people. You used to go walk down to the park and see who's hanging out, or you go down to your favorite coffees. Like, it was so different and it was so cool. And it's gone. The best we can hope for is to do something new.
So when I was in Texas, last time I was in Texas, I experienced this thing that, and I keep talking about it because it reminded me of the 90s. In the 90s, I used to go to every Friday in high school. We'd finish school, and my parents would give me $5, and every person in my friend group, their parents would give them $5 on a Friday night. They'd go, and we'd all go after school to McDonald's, and it was like the big hangout. Friday at McDonald's, let's do this. And the scene at McDonald's was this scene where you have all these high school kids.
The scene at McDonald's.
No. I'm not saying the scene. I'm not saying the scene. I'm saying
the
scene. Like if you looked at the scene that was occurring, right?
Okay.
You not the scene. It's like we had the McDonald's scene. No, the scene that was occurring, as if you were looking at a portrait of a moment in time. You see all these kids hanging out at the McDonald's. Yeah, there's French fries flying all around, and yeah, you're being disordered. It's for kids, right? And you go to the counter, and the staff were all people that we went to high school with. So it was, and we're in Windsor, Ontario. Yep. So I don't know where some people are from in Canada. Like maybe other places were more ethnically homogenous, but in Windsor, Ontario, it was peppered with all kinds of ethnicities, no matter where you went. But everybody spoke with a Canadian accent. It was rare to see another kid that spoke with some foreign accent. Everybody was Canadian. And the management at the restaurant would typically be some, mom that the kids are left home and she's bored now. So she took a job at McDonald's and now she's the manager or something like that. Right. And that was typically the scene. And you could go all over the area and you would see this in pockets all over the place. Southwestern Ontario was largely, that was the scene. And so look at it today. You go into a McDonald's on any given day, Friday afternoon, give that as an example. It's a totally different scene. Maybe you might have high school kids going there. That might be a thing, but the staff are not high school kids. The staff are all grown adults. They're all from foreign lands. They all have accents. They all can't understand you. We have like a slave class in Canada, or a subclass that are indentured servants. And it's freaking disgusting what's going on in that scenario. And it's like everyone wants to turn a blind eye to it, even though people are complaining like, it's crappy. I can't get a meal without, people always screw up more order. And it's always this thing. And that's breeding a whole bunch of other, prejudices and stuff. But the reality of the fact is we have these big conglomerate companies that are lobbying the government. The government's greasing their own pockets and going, yeah, sure, we'll do what you want. What do we got to do? Open up immigration. So, and subsidize businesses that hire these temporary foreign workers and make it so there's no way a company would ever hire someone who's not a temporary foreign worker because they get $3 an hour for every one of them. It's this crazy scenario that we've created, or the government's created, and we all kind of just sweep it under the rug. Most people don't want to talk about it, and if you talk about it, well, it's this or that. You get what I'm saying? Like, and here's the thing. So I go to Texas, and I was down there, and I went to several different cities. So I was like checking it out in all these different places. Went to Houston, went to Austin, went to Dallas, Fort Worth, and everywhere was the same. We went into these towns and we went to the fast food places because everybody kept telling me, you got to try Whataburger. You got to try In-N-Out. You got to try this. You got to Chick-fil-A. You got to try that. And we went to all these places, and it was exactly like I remember from the 90s. It was all these people of peppered ethnicities that all spoke with American accents. None of them were of foreign origin. They were all teenagers from America working entry-level positions. And I thought, how do we get back to that? What is Texas doing right? And what is Texas doing that Canada's not doing? How can we do that?
Yeah. I mean, my first guess is a lot. A lot. It's a big list. Yeah, I mean, I've called Canada a resource colony, but it's so much more than that. It's a country being run for a managerial class that really doesn't have a stake in the future of the country. They couldn't give a damn what happens to the millions of Canadians who are just stuck living here. They don't care about the consequences. They don't care about the crime. They'll never experience it. Most of them don't even live here. Most of our companies, which going back to Doug Ford talking about Campbell's soup and him being upset that this is a Canadian recipe. Like, I actually just lost my train of thought thinking about it. I was going to say, what was I going to say? I was going to say something about how, well, the companies that are advertising as being Canadian. So Tim Hortons, for instance, their advertising campaigns are some of the most nationalistic things that have ever been produced by advertising and mainstream media in this country. And they're owned by a Brazilian company and they use nothing but TFWs. Like the Canadian is a rare sight. And at Tim Hortons, there might be 30% of their workforce might actually be of Canadian origin. And the rest are all just living in hotels and serving your coffee. And then people are wondering why the decline in service. It's so tasteless, but I don't see Ford virtue signaling about that. When everybody was talking about switch and, buy your ketchup from French's, it's like it's owned by an American company. I'm not really sure what we're all up to here. Like
this is one of my favorite posts from the food professor. These photos were taken just this past week at Sobeys. This was a while ago. This is back at May 20th. May 20th, when there's still frost on the ground in most of Canada. Canada doesn't grow navel oranges, and certainly not California natural walnuts. Yet here we are. Many readers have sent me similar
maple
photos
washing.
lately.
I like that term.
Yeah, maple washing. So here's, Florida navel oranges sold as by Canadian, thank you, by Canadian. And we've got California natural walnuts by Canadian. And Doug Ford's complaining about the soup. For those who are joining the stream just now, I'll play the clip again so everybody can see this, because it's just absurd.
If I have to put a Canadian flag and every other flag on every single product and legislate it until the consumer can see that you aren't pulling the wool over their eyes, because that's what they're doing, and I still have to get a can of Campbell's soup that's putting that Canadian flag on, that's not being manufactured here, misleading the people, and getting it produced in Camden, New Jersey, the can, the label, the stuff inside. And do you know what they put? Recipe of Canada. Do you think the people of Ontario are that dumb? Like,
yes,
call you up.
Yes.
And I'm gonna rip that label off and encourage people to buy made in Ontario, made in Canada soup. Maybe what you do is bring back your manufacturing facility that you closed down in Etobicoke and got rid of hundreds of people. But I just can't stand sneaky companies that do stuff like that.
Sneaky companies that do sneaky things like that. They're just sneaky, Frank. Just like those sneaky oranges in the middle of winter.
Let's not talk about the conditions that led to those companies leaving. Let's not talk about the politicians from both parties who created the conditions in Canada that caused them to leave. Let's not talk about the decision of the supermarket chains that are often not even owned by Canadians who made the decision that they were going to buy their produce from California and Mexico because it's cheaper, because they have these wonderful things called 12-month growing seasons.
Yes.
And Canada has 4 or 5 if we're lucky. That's a huge we recognize that
you don't even have to be a farmer to know this. Become a gardener. Just garden on your own backyard and you'll figure it out fast.
And then your backyard garden will be factored into GDP.
You're right.
That's Canada.
Just
It's
don't tell.
fantastic.
Just don't tell the feds about it. with your black market garden in the backyard that nobody knows about. Oh man, Breaking Point Communities for $13.99 says the outburst by Scott Reed was very typically nasty liberal attitudes. Anyone else sick of that guy? The media and the Liberal Party has just created a hostile breed of nasty people in Canada. Have you seen the clip?
I don't even know
Frank?
who that is. I might recognize him to see him, but
I've got the clip right here. Let's go over it.
good. More depression.
More depression. Thank you, Breaking Point Communities, for this. Amazing. This is great.
Like,
and by the way, this guy's considered right out of the gates.
He's off to a good start.
Yeah, right. This guy's considered a conservative in Canada by media standards. Anyway,
like these fucking people, man. These fucking people who don't step foot in the woods, right? Who don't live there, and they don't have any practical experience with this. They decide that this is a nice National Review, modern MAGA argument that they want to elicit. Like, what characteristic of MAGA, of this whole sort of, post-COVID, pushback, conservative sort of thought line, small c conservative, whatever it is, all that convoy conservatism, right? It's selfishness. It's just undisguised selfishness. I want to fucking do it. I have no sense of community, no sense of obligation to my neighbors, family, friends. If it's what I want to do, then I'm a hero. Like, fuck you. We have obligations. We live in a society. If a place is on fire, we rally together to help them. You don't say, well, this is an abrogation of my rights. Like, just fuck right off to these people.
So first off, who's selfish in a scenario where, you're scared that and nothing's happening. Nothing dangerous is happening in your immediate surroundings.
It's pre-crime. There's no crime that's happened. No one's done anything yet.
Yeah,
literally,
and because you're scared. Everyone in society needs to stop doing anything for your safety. But if they don't give up their livelihood and their patterns of life and the things that they do, then they're selfish, Frank. The mental gymnastics that these people go through.
The only reason these people are,
but you know how you can tell that he's sincere about it? Because he said fucking like 7 times, man.
Well, he might be sincere, but like the only reason these clowns can do that is because so many people are so afraid to actually speak their minds loudly, because they're that class of people has become a whole big in control group of bullies, and they scare everybody into silence. Like when I talk to people back east from Ontario, like my friends back there, when we start talking about real political issues in the comfort of their own home, they lower their voices. It's a subconscious thing. It's subconscious, but I notice it with everybody I talk to. When you're talking about any of these hot button issues, they lower their voices. I live there. I know what it's like. I used to speak in whispers with people at the farmers market because you didn't want to hear, like, there were so many crazy leftists running around. You didn't want to peeve any of them off in a business environment and hurt other people like it. But the only reason they can get away with being as unhinged as that is because there's no credible, for lack of a better word, there's no credible unhinged pushback. There's nobody in the center that's loud and proud like that. There's nobody right of center that's loud and proud like that. Like anybody that's in a position of influence at scale, like a CTV or like a leader of the opposition, is just too afraid to argue. You don't even have to swear. You don't. I mean, I argue all the time. I don't swear. You don't have to swear. You don't have to be belligerent, but you can certainly be firm, and you can just engage with the stupidity and set it off. That guy's easy to trigger. Set him off and just let him go. He'll bury himself if you get him going. They got nothing. They're it's like a big, loud front, and if you start poking holes in it, they usually run away because they can't handle it. That's why, like, I'm blocked by Warren Kinsella and I don't know how many others because they're easy to poke holes through. And I hope I get them back. If I actually get any size in social media, I'm hoping it awards me their attention again. I'd just love to do it again. I really would.
Yeah, I'm kind of sheepish around them. You know what I mean? Like it's like, ooh, you gotta walk out around on eggshells. Don't reply. Something's a little too scathing. And it's like block. Ah, damn. It's funny though, because they'll talk about people in our position. Because what did he say? He said convoy types, the small C conservatives. And it's a derogatory thing. Yeah, we're not
People who
invited.
care about their charter rights in all contexts.
Yeah, but people with louder voices than them. I mean, look at us in social media. I mean, look at it right now. About 2,000 people are watching us right now talk about this. Do you think at any given time that guy's getting an audience like that? Maybe, perhaps, maybe not likely.
It's not an engaged audience.
No, absolutely not.
It's a passive audience.
By the way, there's about 1,000 on YouTube, and there's only 500 some odd likes. Hit that like button. Come on. And if you're watching this on Twitter, make sure you hit that like, share it, retweet it, do what you got to do. But this is the thing. So we have these huge audiences, and they're pissed about that. They're pissed about it, but they'll take it to, you know, the old school media, the dinosaur media, or whatever you want to call it, that only talks to boomers. Sorry, boomers. I know. Like, who else is watching this stuff? And they'll only refer to us in derogatory statements. They don't say, you know, Clyde do something was on his YouTube channel and he spoke to 150,000 people yesterday and said this. They won't say that. They won't draw attention to the individuals and the actual things being said. They'll say those convoy types, the small ski conservatives. I've never, ever called myself a conservative. People call me conservative all the time. I've always called myself a libertarian or just classical liberal, perhaps. But they're not interested in engaging with the actual argumentation that's going on, because as soon as that comes up, like you said, they just melt.
Yeah. Any real pushback that's fact based, they're superficial. There's nothing there. There's no substance there. It's blind rage and reaction. I find it interesting too how many of these people who are prominent in the media and prominent in politics have all of a sudden taken to swearing themselves when they're doing interviews or doing social media. When in 2016, Trump dropped the first use that I know of the word shit on the campaign trail, and it was wall-to-wall outrage. And now swearing's pretty common in the public circle. Like I've noticed there's a big shift there, and it seems that Trump is leading the way once again, bringing cursing to the political arena. Yeah,
because we heard this guy, really, and then I had another interview that I showed of Corey Tonight during the campaign, and because I don't normally watch these people's podcasts, but it seems like as soon as they get on podcasts, they're just sailor mouth. Like, what happened?
Yep.
And I'm a mechanic. Like, I can swear with the best of them, but I get on the show, and yeah, I mean, like when you and I are off the cuff and we're talking, you might hear the odd, you know, swear word, but I know how to use adjectives for the most part. I can replace them with all kinds of words. You don't see that with these individuals. Is that just a trend, you think? You think they're trying to sound more authentic by swearing more? Is that a thing?
I think they're just more liberated to be what they are, and they like. I think it
just
demonstrates a lack. I think it just demonstrates a lack of self-control, because I think free speech is very valuable, but I also think that self-control of how you use your speech is also valuable, because like if you can make a choice to not use particular words, and you will reach a larger group of people because you don't use those words, what matters more? Your ability to curse and swear and do it your way, or does the message and the purpose and the principle and the goal matter more than your ability to swear with reckless abandon? And my decision's always been, I really try to be self-controlled in my video work. Now, you've talked to me privately. You know, I talk I say the same things, but I say them more colorfully in private. Like it's I swear a lot more in private communication, and I think that's true of a lot of people. But you know, I that's just to bring it all back together. The abandonment of self-control in media and in the political arena bothers me a lot, because it's a place that should require some discipline, and we're seeing the abandonment of discipline. Like some of the screeching people in US politics, and that's what it is. Like they're just screeching. It's like that. Do you remember the No girl? I think it was a girl when Trump won the election, and there's that video clip, and she's kind of got a yellow vest on, and she's got the hair kind of thing, and she's just like, no. And it's
yes.
All right.
Another one, yeah.
But that's 2016. Fast forward 8 years, that behavior is represented in Congress. So like there's been an evolution or a devolution. It's going the wrong way.
So he just reminded me of two things, right? So comparing speech to for example, someone who knows a martial.
I'm pretty sure it was. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a woman. It was a woman. We'll get back to the comments in just a second.
Sorry,
but
sucks me in.
So I'm on a train of thought here. So you reminded me right there of people who know martial arts. And martial arts is all about self-control. Like the idea is you know how to hurt somebody, but you don't do it just because you can. Right. But you have that confidence that if you're ever in a situation that you can protect yourself. And if you were given the scenario, if it was thrust upon you, then you'll do it. But you don't have to always use it. It's not a go-to, right? And, you know, that's kind of the swearing thing. But it also reminded me of this other thing, because, you know, it's more of, because you mentioned that it's more of a personal thing for these individuals, like it may be, is that it reminds me of the use of overly big words, like and you've probably run into a lot of these types where they'll use words that may even not even fit into the context, but they'll use big words to make themselves feel good. Like, and you can tell that that's what it's about. It's like, look at me, I'm a big man. You don't even understand what I'm talking about. And if you want to be a good communicator, you want to make sure that more people understand what you're talking about.
That's right.
And so actually, if it's necessary to use a big word that's specific to a thing, it's better to follow it up with a definition of what that word is and then continue communicating rather than just leave everyone guessing and pulling their thesaurus out. You know what I mean? Like that's an effective way of communicating. But some people will actually, they'll negate reaching people in order to get this dopamine hit of self-importance, because they'll use overly large words in a scenario where they know that a lot of people may not understand what it is that they're saying. And that's where hubris gets in the way of communication.
Yeah, like that. It's the social media, politics, the public eye tends to draw people who want that attention, right? So you were talking earlier about influencers who cater to their audience, and they're afraid of saying certain things because they're going to be punished by their audience. Mm-hmm. I think that's the wrong motivation. Like, I used to say when I was farming, I used to tell my customers, I'd say, because they'd come up and they're like, I'm putting in a garden this year. Sorry, Frank, I won't be as good a customer. And I would tell them my objective is to put myself out of business. If I've got no clients anymore because they're growing all of their food themselves, then I've won. I'll go on and I'll do something else. And kind of my attitude towards content creation is, if nobody's watching my stuff, then I can go and do something else. And wouldn't that be wonderful? Like, there's a little part of me that hates getting in front of the camera every single time I do it, because it's sometimes you put together words, it's going to be bullshit in the comment section. You're going to be getting hammered by somebody. People are going to be talking about your kids. They're going to be doing all this stuff. And so every day there's a little bit of doubt, like, it's a grind in a way. And I love my community. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm looking to go anywhere, but I'll tell you, if I lost that, if my motivation started becoming about, oh, I'm doing this today, or I'm growing this today, or like I got to say this thing to attract this audience or whatever, like if I started thinking that way, it's the day I should quit. And like, I don't want to talk about personal communications, but I know like I've talked to you sometimes, and it gets pretty hard sometimes with some of the stuff that people say about you, and like there's a lot of pressure, and people don't know that you're just a guy, you're a mechanic doing your thing, you got a platform, you got a family, you're trying to live your life, and you put up with this stuff. And like there's a question sometimes that comes into my mind, it's like, why? And it's that question, that kind of that doubt about it all, that's what keeps me coming back, because I'm like, if I've got that, then I'm coming at it from the right place. But if I'm catering and like I'm playing the game, then that's when I should probably quit. Anyway, the point being that I think a lot of these people that we're talking about, it's just a game. It's just an extension of ego. It's just an extension of it's they're not coming from the right place. So swearing's fun, right? It's like you said, dopamine hits. Like I don't really get a dopamine hit from putting out videos, man. Just
No.
I don't.
Well, I used to laugh and say, when you have fans, you're doing good, but when you have haters, you've made it.
Yeah.
But then once you get those haters, you're like, wait a second, what? But that's I guess making it is that. But holy crap, it's not easy. Like it's not easy to deal with when you have a lot of people, because it's just a human, I guess, a psychological thing. I'll read 100 really nice comments and I see one awful one, and then that just sticks with you for some reason.
Yep.
And
I'm
you just
right there with you.
Yeah, and I hate doing the whole like post and ghost thing, because I want to be involved in the community.
You got to get in there sometimes. You got to know how to pull out. Like when I was doing shut up.
It's a clean stream, right. Frank. Come on, let's
when I was doing content creation pretty heavily before, I didn't know how to stop. So like I'd be in the same Twitter argument for 3 days, and I'd take it to bed with me. It would be, there I go again. It would be personal. Like I would carry it. This time round, I know how to put it down. Like I know how to forget about it. Like I'll read a stupid comment from somebody, and instead of feeling like I got to argue with that person until the sun comes up, I can make a choice. I can either engage a little bit and walk away, or I can just walk away. But like I know how to do that now. The thing, I feel sorry for people who are just trying to start out. They're just trying to create something. They're just trying to put themselves out there. And they run into, you were teaching me about the whales, the blue whales, and the other characters in these toxic subgroups, which is, I know it's an organized thing, but like just even the human nature, someone puts something out there genuine and they just get assaulted. If they're used to dealing with people face to face, they're not used to that kind of hate and invective coming out of nowhere. And the internet is just this, it's toxic as shit.
Oh man,
like,
is it bad? Yeah.
There was a guy on Twitter, it might've been a language model. That's the other thing. You don't know what you're talking to. It could be a language model. It could be a human being, but I decided to engage with a human being or a language model today. And the guy, he started out by calling me a mouth breathing asshole. And I said, what are you doing, man? I got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old that got more class than you. Okay. And like, what kind of a future are you trying to create? Like, what are you doing, brother? And like, I actually called him brother. I'm like, what are you trying to do? Assuming you're a human being. And he came back with more invective and insults and whatever. And I'm like, this isn't how in-person communication goes. So summon the discipline to communicate online the way that you would communicate in person. And you said to me a couple times when we're streaming, you're just like, I get in the chat and I get argumentative with people and whatever. The way I conduct myself is the way I would conduct myself. I might be a little nicer in person, but I'm still going to argue with you. But I try to bridge that together. I don't behave like more of an arsehole online because I'm online. Like it's so bad. It really worries me how bad the human condition is. And I think about my kids. My kids are super nice. There's a lot of kids they know. Their friends are super nice kids. They're going to grow up. They're getting a good experience of life. And then they're, if I don't prepare them, they're going to get dropped into this toxicity. And it shatters some people because they just, you know, and then it stifles their ability to communicate and create. So like you've got these creators just trying to come in and start out, and they just get destroyed by the toxicity. So like you and I, we've been around a while. We got nice thick skin, but a lot of these people don't even have calluses yet. It sucks.
Yeah, it's hard. And a lot of it, this is like, so Jordan Peterson got a lot of flack for pointing out that it's largely anonymity that breeds this behavior. Because it essentially it's the road rage phenomena, but with the ability to articulate yourself. And I think I'm the one to have coined that, because I don't think I've heard that from anywhere else. But the same phenomena of
I'm tweeting it right now.
No,
Stealing
it. You can have it. But the idea being that when people get behind the wheel of a car, they're in a machine. They're in this like thing, and they're moving, so they have the ability to get away from anything at any given time. And so it gives them it gives people this like hubris that they can like flip people off and be super aggressive and angry, not like they would be if they were walking behind somebody on a sidewalk, for example. When somebody walks in front of you on a sidewalk, it happens, and sometimes you're like, hey man, what's up, or whatever, right? And they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, okay, I forgive you, it's all right. And then you walk about. But when you're in a car, it escalates and it becomes this thing, right? And some people get into like massive road rage. The internet's much the same thing. Like when you have this anonymity, but the anonymity, a lot of times it goes away, but then again, you still see the same phenomenon with, for example, like people like Jan Arden, who their name's out there. They don't have anonymity. So this is the question. Is it really an anonymity issue, or is it just the comfort of, you know, you'll never run into those people issue, where you could just be the worst person possible?
But why would you want to be that person? Like, why? I guess there's people who are unencumbered, take their freedom to the maximum. They just do whatever they want without thinking about it, without self-control. And then there's this other,
But that's not freedom.
philosophy. I don't think so.
No,
I don't
okay,
believe.
so maybe this is a good time to define the difference between freedom and liberty. And this is why I always talk about liberty and not freedom, because freedom is like the rudimentary sort of thing. Like, I got nobody telling me what to do, I got freedom, you know. But then liberty is this concept that, yes, I have no one telling me what to do or what not to do, but everything that I do or don't do comes with the consequences laden in those decisions, right? So if I decide I'm just going to stay home and play video games, well, I'm going to have to live with the consequences of not getting paid for the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things like that. Like you're at the liberty to do that. Go ahead, enjoy yourself, but enjoy the consequences of these actions. And the same thing when it comes to social relationships or you know, being part of the you know, the town square. You go out there and you make an ass of yourself. Well, you'll be remembered as that ass. Is that what you want? Or but I could just make an alt account, another sock account, a profile. Well, that's part of the problem. That can be part of the problem. And that's like, as a culture, as a society, we need to come to an agreement on this. Can you come to the town square wearing a costume, an outfit where people won't recognize you, or should you be identifiable? I'm not giving an answer. I'm asking the question, right? And this is where people get upset.
It's tough because, you know, in principle, I've always thought that if there was a special privilege available to you on social media, so you got better reach, you got better reply boosting, you got better algorithmic support for your videos, if you authentically verified yourself, who you are, your name. And I think this actually has more validity in the age of language models and AI than it's ever had before, that if you're verified a human, basically, and this is who you are and this is your name, that if there was some kind of advantage that didn't disadvantage everybody else that was anonymous too bad, but it was a clear advantage for those who would voluntarily out themselves, I guess you would say, or just put themselves online like that. I think that would be a good thing, because I think on the balance, people who act in their own names conduct themselves better. Even on the left, I think they conduct themselves better. Because the toxic shit is anonymous, and it's horrible. The internet's a horrible place. And again, I don't know if it's, I don't know anymore, man. I don't know if they're humans. I don't know if they're language models. Like I honestly, I see so much 3 to 5 word F you idiot, you're dumb troll. Like, you know what I mean? Like you see this stuff and it's like, that's a language model. And someone programmed that to be like that. So like there's a really dark human being programming bots to destroy the human condition online. So I don't, but to bring it back to me, I don't see any point, or I don't see any other alternative except to try and exercise some degree of self-control into how I communicate with the world. And I kind of get drawn to people who are doing that too.
Yeah, fair enough. Dual Sport Bandit says it extends to in real life. Crime doesn't have consequences either. And that's detrimental. When crime doesn't have consequences, you'll see more of it. You'll see lots more of it.
I don't know if you're familiar with 1970s crime problem in New York. It was a really big issue. And in trying to solve it, what they figured out was it was actually the enforcement of the little things. So people who are skipping queue and not paying their fare to get on subway, if you actually made them pay their fare, it dropped the incidence of all the other major crimes. So they started to enforce parking fines. They started to enforce infractions. They started to enforce jaywalking. They went to all the little things, and it actually made a huge impact in the big things. Yeah. So like, just to that point, there's no consequences for little things and there's no consequences for big things. It tends to be political justice in Canada, and criminals just roam free. So
wow,
that type of base behavior is kind of emboldened by it's the little things, man. Like it's being on the right side of the road, being in your lane, signaling, turning your headlights on after dark. It's like these little things. These little things are what indicate how stable and sound a society is, the voluntary obedience to little things. And we're losing that in Canada too. Like, I mean, every day there's a new video of somebody driving down the wrong side of the 401. That never used to happen every day. If it did happen in the oddies or the 90s, it was like in national news, there'd be a helicopter, like there's someone on the highway, and like every day now. We're kind of, that's fragmenting too.
Well, you're making me think of Japanese culture because I lived there for 3 years, right? Yep. And that's the big thing, is the little things. The big thing that they stress about is the little tiny things. Like when you're on a train, you're not talking on your phone. You're not being loud with your friends on a train. Everybody's quiet and orderly. They're very strict about when the door is open for the train, you're standing at the side. You let everybody out, and then you enter the train. Like all of these things are, and they're very strict about it. And it's the interesting thing is like people will break these rules, and it's not necessarily that somebody's going to come out and give you a ticket right away. It's you get socially shunned for it.
Yeah.
And the social ostracism works really well in Japan.
Wonders. Yeah.
Which is terrible because in recent times, nuisance streaming, I don't know if you've heard of the phenomenon, has become a big sensation where people will do live streams.
Oh yeah.
And
they do pranks on people and really
and they've been going to countries like Japan and Korea and all these other places where people are more like they're not gonna overreact and do these things, but social ostracism is quite prevalent as a punishment in their society. But if you're a nobody and you don't care and you're that internet troll that's never gonna run into these people ever again, you don't give a shit, right? So they're doing it for clicks and views and money. And so when that becomes the case, then more people go there. And now Japan is like really shut down streaming in public places, which is a shame, because I go there occasionally and I always do this like big 3-hour live stream as I walk through busy areas of Tokyo. And I'm always very courteous and making sure I'm not putting people in the shot if it appears that they don't feel comfortable in the shot, that kind of thing. And I'm always just trying to get crowds, not individuals, in the shot and things like that. And I'm courteous to that, but not, what does a policeman know, right? When they see a white guy who, walking down the street with a camera facing at him, they're like, keep an eye on that guy. He's probably one of those shitheads, right? Now that's how they think. Back when I first started doing it, it was never an issue.
It's the whole pranking thing is a bit of a plague. Like, and I mean, I've seen, I know what you're talking about. I didn't know there was a name, nuisance streaming, for it, but
that's when they do it live. That's when they do it live. Yeah.
Some of it's horrible. Like, it could get people hurt. It's really distressing. It's really disturbing. But there's a number of trends online like that are just, like I said, the human condition is slowly dying out. It's the little things. It's choosing not to swear. It's choosing to hold the door for the old lady behind you in line. Like, one of the things I found so refreshing about coming to Saskatchewan is that culture is still thriving here. There's still so much courtesy. There's still so much open communication.
Love that.
You go to the grocery store, everybody's making eye contact and acknowledging each other's humanity. You don't feel like you're an inconvenience because you got kids. Everybody's talking to your kids, and it's like, it's friendly stuff, right? And like, it's just refreshing. Like, the first year we were here, we went to, everybody can take a Christmas tree off public land. That's just the thing here. So if you want a Christmas tree, you can go to public land and you can get one. So we're hunting our tree along the
same
side
thing
of the
here.
highway.
It's like we have a rule: if it's under a power line, it's fair game. Go for it.
Right. And so we're just driving up and down the side of the road. We're moving slow, and I would say just about every car, because there weren't that many cars on the road, but just about every car slowed down to make sure we were okay, because we were pulled over in the middle of winter. Like, December's here are pretty cold, and it's just courtesy and care everywhere you go. And it's a strength of a society when they have that kind of thing, but it's also a weakness when you get toxins like the nuisance streamers or other cultures that are incompatible getting dumped into it, and everybody's too nice to stop it. That nicety only kind of works when you're shelled up a little bit and you're integrating people as they come in, and everybody picks up on the same mannerisms and manners and customs.
Yeah.
But as it breaks down, like, it's a pretty fragile thing, and you can lose it forever really easy.
You absolutely can. You absolutely can. Hey, Frank, give me a second. Would you keep an eye on the chat, and I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah. Love to. So what do we got in the chat? If we enable ignorance, we are that. If we enable ignorance, we are ignorant. Jilly Bean says Saskatchewan. Yeah, I'm all about it. Saskatchewan, just the word. It's awesome. We have winter etiquette in Canada. I don't know if we have it in Canada, brother. I know we have it in Western Canada. I don't recall that being a thing anymore in Ontario, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just harshing on it. Jilly Pepper says, Frank. Digger D. Potty break. Way to call it. Loo break. I have zero tolerance for littering. Yeah, I had a challenge this spring. I think it was the spring. There was still some snow on the ground. I watched a guy get out of a van, and he was wearing a mask, which is a rare sight in Saskatchewan, but he's wearing a mask. He gets out of the van, he takes his mask off, and he lights a cigarette. There's a lot going on here that was already irritating me before the thing that really got to me. And he just he's standing there in the parking lot, he's smoking a cigarette, and he just sort of casually drops his mask on the ground. I was in the van. I had my son and my daughter, and my wife was in the store. And man, I wanted to go call that guy out. And I was so close. I had the door of the van open and I was going to go and talk to him. And I'm like, what are you doing? You can't leave your kids alone. You got to think about all these considerations. But like, littering drives me nuts. Put that shit in a receptacle. Put it back in your van. Pick up your garbage.
I'm in the same boat. Yeah, littering.
I was
what
so
do you
close.
do? Because like, what do you want this?
Like
what do you want Canada to be India? And I'm not saying that as like there's so many Indians here. It's like, no, like everybody's seen pictures of India where they don't take care of trash.
That's
and they don't care.
It's the thing.
They just throw it everywhere.
I don't want that here. I saw, and it's a cultural thing. There's nothing wrong with Indians who want to come to Canada and be Canadians being told when they come in, you got to put your garbage in garbage cans. You can't drop it on the street or we put it in dumps. They may not know that there's dumps. I don't know why we're bringing people in that don't know about dumps, but I digress. I don't think it's too much to ask.
I think it's incumbent on you to figure it out. But yeah, there should be some sort of, I don't know, leaflets that we could pass out to people.
Yeah,
that might be good.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Jilly. It sucks. Pick up your garbage.
But I would see this from Westerners, not Indians, in Japan. And I would tell people like, hey, pick that up. What are you doing? People would like just toss a cigarette butt on the street or, dump a can on the side of the road or something like that. There's places for it. Put them in the thing. It may not be super convenient because it's not right there, but hang on to it. It's just like hang on to it. Every street corner, you're going to pass a convenience store. There's going to be a trash right in front of it. Boop. Easy peasy. Just do that. It's a thing. Let's get to some of these comments. Nero for 5 says anti-establishment means attending church regularly and having family and kids. Time for the West to leave Lower Mainland is not welcome.
Sorry, Clyde. We got to cut that off. Make it a free city.
No, I would include the Sea to Sky. Yeah, where I live. No, we're not part of the Lower Mainland technically, but in the last BC election, voted green, dude. Like, dude, I can't forget my name.
No more words need to be said on that. We voted green, dude.
I can't forgive my neighbors. What the hell? Gary McDonald for 5 says a good book about a Winnipeg boy who flew a bomber in World War II. 1,000 Shall Fall by Murray. Is that Murray? Murray Pendon. Pedden. Intense, but has some humor too. Well, if you're gonna get intense like that, I hope you have some humor.
I screen grabbed that so I can look it up later.
Absolutely. Brenda Wybe with another $6.99 says, I've said it on here before. Pierre can turn Canada in the right direction, but he can't take us there. I'm not sure if I get that. He can turn Canada in the right direction, but he can't take us there.
He's got to lead. The bottom line is like hookah smoking Pierre has to come back. That's the guy we need. You can have the
unapologetic,
the biceps, but
oh yeah, I get it. Get your LASIK surgery if it makes you feel better or whatever. But it came at a weird timing. Like, oh, he's the leader now. Now he's got to get LASIK, and he's got to start working out and do the and the hair went from this to this. It went from Clark Kent to Superman, and it's like, I know what you're trying to do. I see what you're trying to do, and it's not what people really want. I mean, you want a nice haircut? Look at what America, the land of fancy haircuts, chose. They chose the dumbest haircut ever.
It's actually, I'm going to push back. It's quite sophisticated, that haircut. It's the most unique comb over. It's like, it's not like all comb over. There's actually a root of hair there, but it's kind of like I saw a diagram once about how he combs his hair, and it's like all layered. It's pretty neat.
Well, I think you're correct, and I think we're going to agree on this part of it.
I don't know.
He
didn't
chose
get
that dumb,
I'm
he
sure.
chose that dumb haircut for a great reason. He'll be the most memorable real estate mogul in New York. Because everybody will be like, the guy with the dumb haircut. And they'll be like, oh, Donald Trump. Yeah, okay. Right? But if you said, oh, the guy with the I don't know. How do I describe him? You say the guy with the dumb haircut, and everybody's like, oh, Donald Trump. It's a way of making yourself memorable.
It's like how Jupiter takes the asteroids out of the solar system and sucks it into themselves. Like you got to have. I used to call it a heel. I don't know if that's the right term, but you have to have something, or it helps to have something that people can easily hate. It used to be my long hair before I went and cut it off. If people were going to make fun, man, they start with the hair, and it's like, it's doing its job. It's doing its job. Thanks for the engagement. It's probably why I'm going to end up growing back. I miss it. I was so beautiful. So beautiful.
Like Delilah came and took it away from you. You're powerless, Frank.
Yeah, that's what people said. They were just like, "Oh, it's Samson. It's your Samson hair. You're gonna be stupid now." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know if I was smart before, so we'll see. We'll see if I survive growing it back out again."
Oh, too funny. The shift has hit the fan for 20. Says Sunshine Baby and Pierre snuffed out Trump Jr. Wait, Sunshine Baby says Pierre snuffed out Trump Jr. when he turned the right-wing establishment against him and opened the door for Carney. Do you think Pierre lost respect out of fear of aligning with Americans? Absolutely did. I think I'm with Mr. Sunshine Baby on this one. I think he's absolutely right. I think the people calling the shots. I hate this. I hate defining it as like Jenny Byrne and not Pierre Poilievre. Like if you were the leader of a party, would you blame it on your subordinates? Were you a leader of anything and you fail at a thing and you blame it on your subordinates? What does that make you?
Not a leader. Yeah,
that's where I'm at. Like the fact that everybody, especially all the like Pierre sycophants, and I get it. If you want to be a fan of Pierre, that's fine. But don't be a sycophant. Acknowledge that he's made mistakes. Don't try to dance around that. Sure. And we can discuss this all day long, and I'd be happy to. But the second you're like, well, you can't do any wrong, and it's other people that made mistakes. Sorry, like you're the guy who hires who does what job in the party. Like you have a say. And especially when it was your ex-girlfriend that screwed your whole campaign up and everyone's blaming your ex. That doesn't look good either. It's a terrible look. It's bad.
It's just bad all around.
The idea,
and like I said, of he was the golden boy. There's nowhere else for the CPC to go if he doesn't do it. It's we're gonna be under.
No, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. I honestly don't think there's a redemption arc here. I'm sorry.
He's got to get strong, quick. I mean, he wins the election and he's got to come back into Parliament, not doing the safe zone stuff. And I don't have any confidence that that's going to happen. I just don't.
Yeah. I don't see a redemption arc. I see it as it's like the Eminem song, but mom never made the spaghetti, I guess. Like that's what happened. You didn't get your mom's spaghetti. Sorry, never forgetty, but you weren't ready. And
how far behind on chats are we? Like, holy!
I think we're pretty far behind. Let's catch up. Julie Beans for 2 says Max did the PPC go against the CPC. Trying to make sense of that sentence, but I think it means that Max was trying to thwart any chances of the Conservatives winning.
founded the
am I-
PPC to oppose the CPC, which is probably it's accurate. I mean, especially in hindsight, it's accurate. Like Maxime and his team went out of their way while they were with the Conservative Party to create controversy where there was none. I did not know it at the time, but Maxime, for those of you who don't know, in 2017 was on the verge of publishing a book, and a chapter got leaked, chapter 21 on supply management. It really pissed off the Conservative Party, but there was no book. And it definitely appears that it was just a way to get back at the Conservative Party from the very beginning, rather than being a solid party that would actually contest elections realistically and win them potentially.
And he was behind like the LGBT Tory thing.
LGBT Tory. Yep.
And
now he's
he was
a
he was the one who
sovereignist man.
when he was the one who voted for compelled speech with Bill C-16.
C-16. It was a mistake.
I questioned him about it, and he said, "Well, I took the advice from the colleagues that told me I think this was a mistake, and I would not do this again." And I thought it was a cop out because like you want to be the leader, but you're taking advice from people who are not, whatever. I tried questioning him about it. He moved on very fast.
I'll take you back. I'll take you back to 2019. So 2019 in the period, either I'd have to get my timetable. It's either right after the election or leading up to the election. It was very close to the beginning of COVID. That's what it was. But Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson, who was a candidate for the PPC, myself, Dan Dix, and
Dan Dix, really?
Dan Dix was involved, and there was who else? There was a trans activist out in BC that was also served legal notice. But we were all going to get sued because we were interviewing a man who was I still don't know if I can name him. Everybody knows his name. You can see him on in American media where they don't give a damn about court orders here in Canada. But anyway,
can't wait until
we
I'm
were
in
all
Texas
being threatened with prosecution over interviewing this guy. And I complied with I got 5 legal letters one morning, and they said, look, you can't show his face and you can't show his name and whatever. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll comply. And I edited his voice and I blacked out his face, and I still got the interview out there, and I complied with the court order, and I avoided it, but they went forward. They went into court. And anyway, she was in the process of getting prosecuted, and Max hadn't taken a position. He hadn't taken a position on trans issues. He hadn't taken the position which everybody identifies with him now. And I remember I called up, I'm not going to say who, but I called up somebody and I said, if he doesn't take a position on this now, we got a candidate that ran in a by-election against Jagmeet Singh, and she's being prosecuted for exercising her speech. You need to take a position or I'm walking. And so, dragged, kicking, and screaming, he took a position vis-a-vis Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson and the stuff that was going on in court. But like, everybody kind of remembers him or sees him as this guy who's been bold and leading and at the front. But he's actually very slow to act as well. He didn't take these positions. In the 2019 election, we weren't going to touch reproductive issues. We weren't going to touch the flag issues. Like he said, you can talk about it, but we're going to have no official policy, and there's no plan to add any policy. Now that changed because, the wind changed. But I don't know. I don't really call that leadership either. That's like that's following too.
Exactly. Ricky M gifting 10 memberships to the channel. Thank you so much. That's very generous of you. Really appreciate that. Amazing. Marianne Drinkwalter. Am I reading that correct? Marianne Drinkwalter.
Yep.
For 2 says the number of forest fires has been declining. Yes. Marty and I, we went over this on Wednesday, going over this in depth because of the whole forest fire thing. The numbers have been declining. The severity of the fires, though, have been increasing, and it's largely due to mismanagement of the forests and a lack of logging, which really is tragic. So when it does happen, it's happening worse. That's
or even some of the logging practices like here in Saskatchewan. You just pile all the dead stuff up in big piles and you leave it in the middle of the bush. It's only a matter of time, like, and then the trees themselves, like the forests themselves aren't being cleaned. So you have, like, we were driving this summer when the forest fire, the first big forest fire was just starting to burn, and we were driving up there trying to get a look at it. And I went down the side road where the trees were 60 to 70 years old. And the first 10 to 15 feet of a tree was nothing but tinder dry branches. They're trying to burn. The forest wants to burn. And if you don't manage it, it's going to burn.
Mhm.
That's it. There's nothing fancy to the story. It's just what forests do. It's how it works.
Well, they need to have, you need to have prescribed burns.
Yes.
And then what you have is just the forest floor burns, and then everything else does well. It's when you have these crown fires that's where it's devastating, right?
I don't think there's going to be much left to burn next year. Like a big portion of the unburned forest in Saskatchewan up north is gone. Like it's had fire go through it. It's huge. Absolutely huge. So, like, we've been smoked out for 2 years running. Some of the old timers I talked to around here claim to remember it being this way 60 years ago. And so, maybe we got some good years to look forward to where it's, and also the mushroom crop. Well, the morale's going to be phenomenal after this. They love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the mushrooms
great
just love
mushroom
it. They
crop.
love all the carbon. Yeah.
Yeah. It's part of the cycle of nature, right?
So we got did I hit this one already? No. Rick Yem for 5 says, just shows us no honor left in politics. Swearing just puts a bow on it. Yeah. Yeah. Getting back to that topic of, like, why people swear so much.
I have no idea what's going on in his PFP. The mohawk and the muscle shirt, they kind of got me, but I don't know what he's doing. And I wish I did. He's holding a lamp, or like doesn't even look like a lamp. Like, what is happening, Rick? You gotta fill us in, man.
Rick, let us know what's going on in the profile pic.
Yeah, need to know.
Fill us in. Phoenix Zen for 10 says, swearing is refreshing.
It is. It's great. I enjoy it, but
just time and a place,
I just
right?
think there's a place for it.
Exactly, time and a place, and that's really how you have to practice that. Rick Yem for another 20. Thank you so much. You're so generous tonight. If I would have known the number of haters I was going to receive, I would have never went on a TV show. Every time IRT. What's IRT? What's the acronym?
No idea. This guy just gets more and more fascinating. What is IRT?
Yeah. Every time IRT returns, it starts all over again. There are so many hateful people. Take a toll. It takes a toll.
IRT reruns. IRT. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, you got to tell us in the chat. David Alot asking, did Chase jump in? No, Chase didn't jump in. So I'll have to invite him another time. I put the invite out to Chase Barber. He's the CEO for Edison Motors, to jump in the chat at any point if he wanted to tonight. Because they've run into a situation where Canada's basically banned their hybrids that they're making. They're making hybrid trucks with Edison Motors, and Canada's like on like stupid bureaucratic crap.
Canada,
saying, no, you can't do it.
It sucks. It's terrible.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything cool in this country. Like, why? We're just missing out on all the fun.
Yeah, we are. We're missing out on everything. And that's the thing. People saying like, I'm seeing in the chat. Oh, I missed it. Oh, there it is. Edison rocks. Dual Sport Bandit saying Edison rocks. Yeah, Edison Motors is amazing. In fact, one of the goals I have when I move down to Texas and I have money freed up from not spending all of my income on rents up here, the wife actually gave me a go-ahead. Get this. The wife gave me a go-ahead when we have money to blow on stuff. I said, I want to have a car project. I've always wanted a car project because I'm a mechanic and you know, I've got all these skills and I want to put it towards something that's fun and, you know, we can always keep. And I've always thought, like, do I want to build a classic car? Do I want to build this or that? And I'm like, no, I want to build a diesel electric, like, dually that has a fifth wheel attachment that we can just have as a toy hauler and a fifth wheel, you know, camper hauler, and go do like long distance trips with a diesel electric hybrid and just like cruise America with the family. And she's like, that's a novel project.
Gotta be a way the government of Canada can ruin this for you.
No, not when I'm in Texas, and not if I can convince Edison Motors to move to America. In fact, I wanted to put it to Chase, like make a wing of the company in Texas, and I'll work for you. Oh, we'll see. We'll get him on the show. We've had this like back and forth with each other for long. We're both busy people, and he's got a family too. But we've had this back and forth where he's going to come on the show at some point. But I threw the open invite out there tonight if you wanted to jump in at some point. If you had 5 minutes to just say the story of what's going on. But yeah, Canada's trying to screw them. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. One of the innovation. Yeah, an innovative company that's making like logging trucks, haulers, highway haulers, off-highway haulers that are, you know, more efficient because they're electric drive, diesel generated. Freaking amazing. That's just crazy.
Yep.
Jilly Beans for 2 says law rules don't matter without enforcement. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
Winiska for 2 saying Brenda Weeb. Is it pronounced Weeb? I'm sorry. I've been saying Weib. My bad. Weeb. So Weeb is a negative connotation word.
She sent a super chat to get you to pronounce that right. That's a cut above right there.
That is a cut above.
Winiska. I probably got that wrong. Winiska.
I didn't want to pronounce it Weeb if it wasn't Weeb because
it has other connotations. I know.
Because it has other connotations. So for people who don't know, there used to be a word called Wapanese, and it was white people that want to be Japanese. And I don't fall into that category, Frank. I see the smirk on your face.
I didn't say nothing. I didn't say a thing.
This is for people that are like, that have like anime waifu pillows and stuff. Like, we're talking about people who don't fit in culturally. And yeah. Anyway, whatever.
I'm looking at that shirt. I don't know.
What are you talking about? This is Hawaiian, dude. This is not.
Well, Hawaii's halfway to Japan, you know.
It's on that same fault line with all the seismic activity. So, I'll tell you the internet lore for it. It started as Wapanese, and because a lot of people on Reddit, all this stuff starts on Reddit, right? So people were saying this on Reddit, and
it's not
Reddit is like super woke. So they were like, that's racist. You can't say that. So they banned the word Wapanese. Like, it was hard banned on the website. If you type that word in, your post got like gone. So people came up with a word that meant nothing that replaced Wapanese, and it was weeaboo. And I don't know where the origins of where that came from, but it was just like completely out of the blue, weeaboo. And then it got shortened to weeb. So someone who's just like, anime freak, wants to get a Japanese waifu. And the best part, Frank, you'll appreciate this. Living in Japan, I met a lot of weebs. You meet a bunch of them. The best part,
Brenda's learning a lot right now. Thanks for your generosity, Brenda. hope you enjoy your bubble being destroyed.
Sorry. Oh, it's just oh man. So let me take off this screen. So the funniest part that I ever experienced from weebs, like actual weebs, like weeaboos, was in Japan. You go to these places that you go to. There was this one pub that it was an English pub, but it was a franchise. But everyone kind of knew it as like a language exchange place. So if you were Japanese, a lot of Japanese people who were really interested in learning English but didn't want to pay for the tutors, they would go there in hopes that like foreigners would show up and then want to talk to you, and then you get to have a conversation because foreigners are so outgoing and they like to just chat at bars, right? That's the thing. And being in like a lot of foreigners would do the same. They would that wanted to learn Japanese would go to the same place, and then it became this like language exchange hub sort of thing. Incidentally, the franchise is called The Hub. So because I went to those places a bunch of times to like meet people, get to know people, hang out, I ran into a bunch of these weeaboos. And the funniest part was when you learn language from anime, especially when you're watching like harem animes and stupid shit like that. The people, I guess, don't realize that just like in English, girls say things a lot different than men say things. And so I ran into a lot of men, grown-ass men, that spoke the equivalent of like a valley girl. like a LA Valley girl. It's something else to experience because Japanese people are too polite to correct them on it. And so they'll just carry on conversations with these men who basically sound like they're trying to be transvestites. It's hilarious. And I know you're getting bored and that's why you're getting into the chat.
No, I'm just typing to Brenda there. That's all. It's just phonetically send it. Like you got to think about people who were named Karen before that became a meme. Like I know Karens. Karen wasn't always a meme, and now it's a
Karen
meme,
was not always a meme.
Like,
and my buddy Kyle's from Texas, and I know him from Tokyo. Him and I became friends in Tokyo, and he's saying, "Oh yeah, I've seen it." So he's verifying exactly what I've said. So no, I'm not throwing shade at you.
No, not at all. No shade.
Brenda, sorry.
Like I've actually used the word weeb, like, and I think it's spelled WEEB.
Yeah, that's right.
I have definitely called friends of mine that when we're playing around and had no idea what the heck I was saying, to be completely honest. I knew it was some kind of Japanese slang or like, but I didn't know
internet
specifically
slang.
Anime. I had no idea. It's a fun one though. You weeb.
You weeb. It started. Well, it was weeaboo, and then it became weeb. All right, let's get back on the rails. Yeah, Anthony. How do you pronounce that? I'm sorry. I'm gonna
Schoenroth is my guess.
Okay. Anthony, thank you for the 5. Says Trump tried to release Ghislaine Epstein grand jury info. Obama judge blocked it. By the way, I've been employed since January. Former electrical engineer. Unemployed since January. Former electrical engineer. Apply for jobs in the United States of America. I would recommend that.
Yeah, America wants you.
Yes.
I don't know about Canada.
Look at
dude. I heard a story. I've been actually trying to think about how to relate it. Kind of this guy. He it's a true story, but I just don't want to give anything away. But he worked as a tradesman for a company, and he'd been there for a very, very long time. And so they brought in an East Indian fella and a Ukrainian refugee who didn't speak English. And so he's trying to communicate how to do things to people who have this language barrier. So he goes back to his boss and he's just like, I got this problem. I can't talk to these people. Like there's no way to communicate on the job. It's a huge issue when we're trying to do stuff to code. And his boss said, use your phone, use Google Translate, and that, communicate back and forth with Google. And the guy's like, I'm not on my phone when I work. I don't even take my phone into the job site. I leave it in the truck. And the boss is like, well, you better change that. Next day, he gets fired.
Because he brought his phone to work.
Story. That's the whole story. It happened that way. Long-time employee, no problems, no infractions, got fired because he challenged the language barrier. So maybe apply in the United States.
Holy man.
Maybe apply.
That's crazy.
It's weird. It's a weird time.
It is a weird time. Why are people saying that I'm CIA in the chat?
You're CIA, Clyde Singh.
I sing. Do I get to carry a Kirpan if everyone's going to call me Sing?
Probably. Actually, one of the funnier comments was somebody called you Clyde Weeb something in the chat, jokingly.
That's
Clyde Weeb something.
Funny. That's funny.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
Brenda Weeb, incidentally, with a 279 super chat. Point blank, more to Ukraine side with Europe dumb.
There's a lot there I agree with. I'm just not sure how it all marries together. But Europe definitely is behaving very self-destructively. And you can call that dumb. Yeah. It's not just the war. It's their policies are genuinely wrecking their ability to function industrially. It's terrible to watch.
Got Shane Y Rostek. I hope I pronounced that right. For 2 says Canada keeps blowing its smoke in Ohio's face. Well, at some point, Ohio might just take that industry and move it home. And this is a thing. I'm not sure what you're getting at with the smoke.
It's the wildfire smoke, because I hear Americans complaining about our smoke all the time.
Oh, that might be a thing.
I think it is. I could be wrong, but
I was thinking along the lines of like industrial smoke for some reason. But I know a lot of industry is moving out of Canada, and it's largely because of the activities of our government. Making it, and this is a thing. If people think that Carney is working with Trump, this is where he's working with Trump. And if he's doing it unintentionally, he's an idiot. He is actively encouraging industry to move out of southwestern Ontario and into Michigan and into Indiana, move into Ohio, all these different places. That's what's happening. It's leaving. The capital is leaving. The jobs are leaving. They're moving back to the United States. And let's just be honest here. The only reason why those jobs are in Canada in the first place is because there was such an abundance of opportunity that there wasn't even enough labor available in America at the time, that they moved into Canada. And Canada happily took the jobs and took the industry and took all this other stuff. And when people ask me, what do you mean? What has Canada benefited out of this? And blah, blah, blah. It's like, holy cow. Do you realize that all of the industry that's in Canada is industry because of rollover? Because America was so prosperous that it rolled over into Canada. And then when the industry started contracting, they stayed in Canada and contracted in the United States. And Donald Trump is just coming in and saying what Doug Ford is saying. Why should we contract when those are our jobs? Those are our businesses, the businesses that came out of the United States. You want an auto industry, Canada? Make an auto industry. Until then, let's take our capital and move it back to the United States. And is that
it's not unreasonable. It's perfectly reasonable. You know, if we want to compete, then we need to be competitive, and we're not. We are 6 months into Trump's. No, we're a little bit longer than that. We're 7. The hell are we now? 7 months. 7 months into Trump's term. We got a long
'cause it
way
was
to go.
the end of January.
A long way to
we
go.
took reins, yeah.
You know, and for that, I mean, I guess the Americans could in 4 years decide to elect a president that hates business. They could decide to elect Democrats in the midterms. But it's weird. It's a weird time because Trump's approval ratings soft in the wake of Epstein. Like when you look at Rasmussen, not like the other guys, Nate Silver, I don't know how he gets attention, but Democrat approval is in the tank. So like, yeah, Trump's a bit soft, but the Democrat Party is so poorly rated by the American people that I maybe I'm just not that versed in American politics, but I don't know how to read the midterms. Like I don't know if the Democrats are coming out of that winning.
Well, so Donald Trump's being soft on Epstein was not a good look, but I think it's bouncing back. And I think the midterms are looking good for the Republicans.
Well, they got time. You know, this is if you're gonna do damage politically, now's the time. You know, and you make it up in the last year if you can. And it's not like everything's bad down there. Like we talk about Epstein, talk about a few of the bad things that, you know,
the economy is great.
Yeah, like there's a lot of good going on, and I should maybe talk about it more because I tend to believe that Trump actually believed in the things that he said while he was campaigning. Like I think he was authentic on a lot of it, but I also believe that the realities of the United States, the reality of political power, is that ending Ukraine war day one in 24 hours was never going to happen. You know, that's Trump being blustery. But the intention to end the conflict, I think, is genuine and real. I don't think he wants World War III. I don't think he wants a war with Iran either. I'm not sure if it's over yet. I'm not sure the threat's over yet, but I think that whole thing, he managed to navigate it in a way that he didn't get sucked into a neocon war. That's something. And you can be critical of the U.S. policy vis-a-vis Israel. There's a lot that you can do there, but we always knew that Trump was a homer for Israel. Like that's not a surprise. He was the same way. No, it's not a surprise.
He was the first president. He was the first president out of like tons of presidents that made the promise to move the embassy to, what was it, to Jerusalem?
Jerusalem. Yeah.
And he fulfilled that promise. It was a promise time and time again. And this is the thing. Trump, he makes promises and he delivers on those promises. Now, the Epstein thing, people are upset about that, but look at all the other things he's delivering on. And he's only 7 months into his presidency. So like, yeah, that sucks. And we should definitely be loud about that. But we should also not take away from, and don't give the Democrats a win by saying that he's doing a bad job, because he's not doing a bad job. I'm not super keen on the crazy spending that's in the big, beautiful bill.
Yep. That's another, and you should talk about that. Like if you're a Trump supporter, or you're just somebody that wants to try and drive at good things, then you should feel free to talk about Trump and any mistakes that he's making. But at the same time, you point out that he's probably the best game in town worldwide. Like,
absolutely.
I'm not sure there's anything better going on.
Bar none. Yeah, absolutely. Bar none. Winiska saying Trump is doing a great job for America. And I would even extend this, that Trump is actually doing a great job for Canada. They just don't even get it. They just don't get it.
We don't.
And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt because Canada wants to do it the hard way. If Canada was smart, we'd go along with it.
That's right.
And it would be freaking rainbows and butterflies so quick. You have no idea.
We're being invited to the ultimate party, like the new century party, where I will die and my children will grow up and die in a prosperous century. If we just and we're getting invited by proximity. Once again, that asset that you identified, our greatest asset being proximity to the United States, just by being here, we get to join the party. And our people are all elbows up. Can't be having that.
Can't be having that. And here's the thing.
It scares me that we're going to miss the opportunity.
What's an inevitability? So Canada is either going to be part of this moving forward. It doesn't have. It's not a 51st state. And I don't believe in a 51st state thing because again, I'm an American voter. I don't want people who brought Doug Ford to power to be in the American elections. Period. Like, just don't want that. I absolutely don't want that. If Saskatchewan and Alberta eventually became a part of another state of America, I'd welcome that. If it came to that, that's fine. I doubt it would happen. I think independence is probably a better bet for them anyway, in general. But the hard way is the balkanization of Canada. And the worst, get this, the people are getting the worst deal out of this whole thing, if it does get balkanized, is Ontario.
Yeah.
And the Maritimes. They're the ones who are going to get the shittiest deal out of the whole thing. Quebec will separate. They've got tons of energy. They'll just have to get to work, and they'll be good. They'll be good. They'll have their little French enclave, and then they'll be like the cold freaking bayou, or whatever you want to call it. Like that. That's what that is. And we're talking like 100 years in the future or whatever. But Ontario is, nobody's going to forget this like crap. Everyone's going to remember, this was how you took the invite. This is how you'll always be remembered this way. You guys are the shitheads that booed the Star Spangled Banner. Western Canada is not going to be remembered as that. It's going to be Ontario. It's going to be the Maritimes. And unfortunately, that's like you reap what you sow. I hate to say that, but there is time to walk away from that. Shape up.
Tim asked a question. What choice did we have to vote for Ford? Would you rather we voted for Liberals or NDP? I made the case at the time that a vote for the Liberal Party would have been more honest. Nothing would be different. And I don't think anything would be different in Ontario if Ford had lost in 2018. I think you're exactly right, where you would be otherwise. And there was the New Blue Party, and there was True North, or the Ontario
Blue.
Party. I think it was the Ontario Party. I mean, there's New Blue and there was the Ontario Party, but I mean, there was never a better time to go for a small party, or just vote for Bonnie Crombie, because it would have been more honest. Fat Trudeau is exactly the same as the Liberals. There's no difference. And I think that's why.
What the kick in the pants is, that Doug Ford won, and he didn't win and everybody's disappointed. He's got a bad approval rating. He won. He does all this stuff, and he's got a great approval rating.
Ontario,
Mark Carney won, and he has a great approval rating. That's the difference. And we're talking Canada-wide. Mark Carney has a 53% approval rating. So if you take away the Western provinces, what do you think his approval rating is?
70-80%.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's why they're doing the America bad, Orange man bad thing. It works.
It works.
That's why they're doing it. It works.
Mm-hmm.
It's effective. People actually think that. It's not fake. Ontario believes that probably more than any other place in the country. And I'm so glad I put 2,000 kilometers between me and Toronto.
Okay.
It's not far enough.
No, that's why I'm going to Texas next. Moving on. VNA for 2 says up pamphlets. I don't know, in Hindu, stating no beach poop. What's the?
We have them already. I'm just not sure they work.
Oh, pamphlets. That's what he's writing. UP pamphlets in Hindu. I think that's been already circulating.
I think that's actually a thing.
Yeah. VIPT Cruiser for 2 says, "Hey Frank, have you been to Richmond, Saskatchewan?"
That's the Queen Didilu. I can't remember. That's where she is, isn't it? In the school there. That's where that is going on. Richmond, Saskatchewan. I have not been there yet. Kind of hoping she stays there. What was her name? Queen Dadulu. Does anybody know in the chat? Queen
I don't know.
Diddaloo. Do you know what I'm talking about at all, Clyde?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, it's like this woman claims she's the Queen of Canada and she's gonna execute all our politicians.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Do you know what's crazy? I ran into them on Parliament Hill years and years and years ago. I just happened to be there when they showed up with their purple flags and everything else. And I'm like, who are these people? I didn't even know. And then I found out later that I actually witnessed kind of the beginning of that whole thing.
I remember
Romano D, Queen of Canada. There we go.
During the Freedom Convoy, there was a bunch of mainstream media outlets that tried to tie the Freedom Convoy to that movement. And then it was short-lived because people were like, what the hell are you talking about? There's nothing to do with that. So that was the thing. Brenda Weeb with another 279 says, thank you, but my name comes from Germany. I didn't think it came from like 4chan or Reddit.
Oh, you are for sure a real natural German weeb, not a slang weeb. We got lost in the weeds there a little bit.
We got lost
Your
in the
weeb
weeds.
is better. Your weeb has more power than internet slang.
Speaking of getting lost in the weeds, give me 2 seconds, Frank. I'll be right back.
Yeah. You broke the seal.
I did.
What do we got in chat? Queen Romana Didulu. Yep, that's the one. I think she's still in Richmond. Somebody should tell me, is she still in Richmond or has she moved on to some other town? Because I'd like to know. That poor town. Queen Sibian. I don't know who that is. She is the Queen of Canada, says the lovely. I'm just going to say Mrs. Weeb. I don't know if that's the case, but I'm going to go with Mrs. Weeb unless you correct me. The Queen of Canada shot Cyrus. Oh, good old Cyrus. Lost in the weebs. Oh, that's too funny. What else? Let me scroll up. Let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3. Somebody's learning how to count in the chat. David Ilott, you're going to get there. You'll get to 10 one day.
David Alott giving me if you heard all the dings on my personal messages, that's him messaging me. Sorry, Dave, I'm in the middle of a live stream if you haven't noticed. So that's why.
Is he sending you he's sending you DMs and then counting them in the chat?
I don't know.
He's like, all I see is there's numbers 1, 2, 3. I'm like, okay, we're practicing our numbers. I've been there before. We've all.
He's probably hearing the dings from my phone. If you keep doing that, I'm just gonna mute it, man. That's what you're after. David Alott's the guy I went down to Texas with when we went down to Texas. Okay. He's awesome, man. He's like a brother to me. He's awesome. So yeah, David, he's a busy man. Holy cow, he's a busy dude. I guess now Canadian expat, but also dual citizen. So I mean, just American.
Did you sick Wyatt Claypool on him?
We invited Wyatt out. Oh man, I got some funny stories about the three of us.
Are they live stream appropriate?
I don't know if they are.
Actually, we need to get Wyatt in here, and then you can tell the stories.
Yeah, right. And I got some funny stories between Wyatt, myself, David, and Marty as well. And, oh man, so many things went down in a short period of time. I think it was like 10 days we were down in Texas. It went by so fast, but like looking back, you're like, how many things did we do in such a short period of time? It's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
One of them trips, just so insane. Let's get to the next one here. VIPT Cruiser for 2 says, your thoughts about kingdomofcanada.com.
Well, let's see.
Or is it just kingdomofcanada.com? I don't know.
Yeah, I now have a virus. No, I'm kidding. There's no website, kingdomofcanada.com. Let's try.
Kingdomofcanada.com? I don't know. I have no thoughts on
Her Majesty Queen Romana Dedulu. Okay, so the Kingdom of Canada.ca is her website. I didn't
Okay,
even
David,
know.
I'm muting my phone.
You know what? I'm not getting into that right now. That's my ADHD will just go crazy if we go down that road.
Oh, the Queen of Canada.
Yeah, the Queen of Canada. She's got some
no thanks.
purpley blue white hair going on, like very official looking. God loves you. That's good. I don't know. I don't understand the she's not the Queen of Canada. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the end of the story.
On that.
That's
kind of stuck on the whole like not real thing.
Yeah, pretty easy. Pretty easy. Oh man. So I want to make an announcement before we get too far into this. We're 3 hours into the live stream. Next week, I'm starting a different timing for the live streams on Fridays. So it was still when it comes to the Marty and Clyde stream, that's still going to be 6:30 Pacific time, so it'll be 9:30 Eastern. But I'm going to start doing the Friday night live streams at 5:30. So just so everyone knows, it's going to be an hour earlier. Still going the usual time, between 2 and 3 hours, that kind of thing. But if you want to be there early at the beginning of the live stream, it's going to be from 5:30. So that'll be 8:30 Eastern. So I think it'll make things a little easier for people in the Eastern provinces to hear me slagging them. I mean,
if any of you are left that want to tune in,
yeah,
here's how.
Yeah, no, I'm not slagging people in the East as much as I'm hoping that people in the East will become as aware of what's going on as the captive audience that we have here, because wow, what's going on out there. But yeah, if you're Eastern time, then yes, we'll be doing the Friday shows from 8:30, not 9:30, and 5:30 in the West.
Sasquatch Chronicles, please send Elizabeth May to the next round of trade talks, please, in caps. That's what got me.
That would be better.
Make this happen.
That would be better than Carney. Holy crap. And forget about Aunt May. Is that what you call her? Oh.
Yeah, Aunt May and Uncle Doug. They're
Auntie May, Uncle Doug. That would be, I mean, let's be honest. I was excited that Danielle Smith was going down there in the beginning when she was going down to Mar-a-Lago and starting the trade negotiation talks. What happened to her bravado? Like I don't know. It's gone.
Yep. Well, and I don't know if you're following the Alberta Next town halls that she's doing, but
not intensely. Tell me about it.
They're just quite contentious. I mean, there's a lot of opinions are being raised in them, and you know, it's just, to me, generally, I get the feeling that separation, independence, she might be doing the referendum stuff, but like, I don't get the sense that she's on board or that she's working towards it. I think Poilievre's presence in in the by-election, I think, is another thing. Like, I don't think I think the independence movement is being catered to, or being kind of like, you know, when a little boy shows interest in something and you pat them on the head and you give them their due, but then you send them on their way. It feels patronizing.
Yeah, totally does.
Hopefully that changes, but it's just,
I mean, Pierre Poilievre coming in and saying like, Pierre Poilievre coming in and saying, I'm going to represent Alberta, when during the last election cycle. Yeah, and you will be in Canada. But in the last election cycle, he was asked about, would there be any talks about transfer payments? And he straight up said no. There won't be any talks about that. We're not going into that territory. And then now, when he won't even stand up for rights, people's rights, charter rights in Nova Scotia, what do you think he's going to do for the provinces that who cares about where their votes go? Right? Why would Pierre care about anything about Alberta when it's a shoo-in that they're going to vote Conservative anyway?
Yeah, it's taken for granted. Yeah.
It's so funny too. It made me like, and not in a funny haha and a funny, oh my God, this is a tragedy. And I don't know, like Les Miserables funny, but, and the French part comes in on this one. The fact that the Conservatives even pander to Quebec at all. Why? The Quebec,
you're never going to win there.
No, on a federal level, Quebec either goes liberal, and if they don't like the Liberals, they go to the Bloc Québécois. That is their version of conservative. That's it. So they should just leave Quebec issues out of any debate and say, forget Quebec. Who cares? We don't care about Quebec. They will never vote for us, so who cares? And I might say crass. It might sound crass, but that's what the separatists in Quebec say. We don't care about Canadian issues. We only vote about our issues.
That's right. And they do very well by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish Western Canada would give it a try. You got this canola tariff, and Scott Moe is basically, he comes out, he does a press conference, and now he's just sitting waiting for Carney to say something. It's like, why are we waiting? Why are we always waiting on Ottawa? Like, let's look at Quebec does well for itself by not waiting. They don't like something, they threaten to leave. They do something about it. They use the notwithstanding clause, and they pass a law that they like, that the country doesn't like. And for some reason, the media doesn't go through mass scale outrage. But anytime any other premier talks about using the Constitution, it's outrage. Like, why do we care? Why do we care about that? I mean, for Scott, it's like, you just won an election in October, man. You got a mandate. Smith doesn't have to deal. I think she's got a year and a half left. I actually don't know if it's 2.5 or 1.5 years. I don't recall. But, I mean, go for it. Do something different. I think you'll find your people are responsive to it.
I absolutely agree. And I want to put this plug out there right now. If you're in the chat and you want to continue chatting with us, every week after doing the live stream, we jump in the Discord server. If you don't know what that is, it is another social media. And I'm not plugging this. I don't make any money from it. It's really just about, if you want to, they have really, really good voice and video for big groups. So if you want to join in for the greater conversation, come join us over there. We like to go hang out there. A lot of people hanging out in the wee hours of the night. I just put the link in the chat. That's the Discord server. Tell me, people, if the link is working before we end the stream, because I really want to make sure that people who want to go in there are able to go in there. I make sure that this link is only available during the Friday night live streams and no other place. So there's no bots, there's no trolls. When the trolls do come in, they get yeeted pretty quickly. They're gone. And we keep this as a tight-knit community. So it's not about making money or any of that stuff. There's no advertising or that sort of thing. It's about, if you want to carry on the conversation, you want to be there with like-minded people, I want to facilitate this for you. And I want to make this possible. And if you're keen on that, join us. If not, then we'll see you in the next one. Absolutely. We'll always see you in the next one. But I like to make this an option for people, because I know that a lot of people want to carry on the conversations and they want to talk to other people about these topics. So let me know in the chat if the link is working before we head out of here, because I want to make sure that there is a working link for everybody, because the nature of these links is they expire quick. So get on it when they're there, because we have to make new links every week for this. So somebody let me know in the chat.
We got one confirmed.
Oh, we got one confirmed? Perfect. Frank, you going to be there?
Yep. Give me a few minutes, but I'll be along.
Awesome. This was a fun chat, man. I love these chats
all
because
over.
they get, I mean, it's real. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we went over a lot of different things, and it's just like shooting from the hip. And that's what I like about it.
Yeah, we're actually talking about things we think and feel, and not reading lines. So it's good. It's
Well, it
good to
gets a
not
lot
read
off
lines.
my chest because, like, there's a lot of things that were bothering me this week about the whole America, Canada thing, where we sit, where I stand, where I'm at, what I'm subject to. And I wanted to let it out because holy crap, dude, I'm sick of it. Like I'm sick of the attitudes going on around this place where I know when as soon as you step foot across that border, those attitudes are gone. Americans don't hate Canadians. If anything, they're more sympathetic to the whole situation. Americans are super polite. They're not this like, I don't know, caricature that Canadians have started to invent. And I'm afraid of that caricature because what is it going to turn into? Is it going to turn into like North Korean propaganda? I mean, let's not put it past people to do shit like that. Honestly.
Mm-hmm. We're already living in a fantasy world when it comes to our understanding of the United States and our relationship with them, and that they're replaceable. So why not more fantasy? We believe we're a democracy. So kind of based on we're kind of based on fantasy.
We're all LARPing. We're all LARPing democracy and whatnot. That's a great place to leave it. Frank Vaughan, thank you for joining me. Everybody knows where to find you. The link is in the description. If you're watching on X, I think the @ mark should be in the chat, but it's of course at Frank Vaughan. I mean, just start typing at Frank Vaughan. It pops up. You're not
You'll
shadow
find me
banned
eventually.
anywhere. You will find Frank Vaughan. And that is definitely the best follow. You guys need to be part of that conversation. So we'll see you guys all. Monday's not a holiday. We'll see you all Monday morning. We're going to get back into the usual thing. I'm going to get back to my usual everyday making videos. That's going to be something else. I've been off of it for a little while. I'm looking forward to it. Let's bring some more spice to the table. Good night, everybody.
See you.